Oh, I love that music coming on the intro. All right, guys. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. We have made it to the end of the week at last. Camera's a little low. Let me... There we go. Welcome to Fox 5 Live Friday edition, where we like to have fun, have a good time, and get your weekend started off on a good note. So, I'll be focusing on all weather today. We'll talk weekend, because weekend's a little around here, meaning some rain, maybe some warm temperatures, but wind's going to be blowing, and there's not going to be a lot of sun. So even though we're going, say, 60, 61 tomorrow, it probably won't feel like it. It's probably a better indoor than outdoor weekend, in my opinion. But maybe you're one who likes the rain and the wind, and you want to go out and sightsee. Do whatever you want. Still got some color in the D.C. region. Let's go live to the White House outside right now, and you can see the sun's shining. The sky's glowing a beautiful shade of blue. And it's still, like, at least downtown D.C., which historically stays a little warmer than these locations a little farther out to, say, the west. They're holding on to a little bit of color down there. I'm not sure what's going on with the water fountain. Oh, it's the sun gleaming off it. I'm not too sure what was going on there for a second. It looked like glitch in the Matrix or something. All right, let's take another live look. We'll go to the Capitol so you can see the actual sky conditions, which I believe is the shot we bumped you in on. Few high, thin clouds streaming across. That should be about all we see for the day today, through the afternoon. More blue than white in the sky, that's for sure. And then as we get into the late night, overnight hours, we'll start to have thicker clouds kind of build in ahead of our next storm system, which is unfortunately going to make the weekend a little And then, so we're live on Facebook as well, so I'll welcome everybody back. Again, if you want to watch these videos, skipped ahead a little bit too much. We're going to get back to the weather forecast in just a second. But what's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hopefully everybody's enjoying it. We're going to talk about 3 things today over the course of the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to talk about the weekend forecast, which is up and downs. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving, travel, weather, and what the forecast looks like here in D.C. Tucker's going to walk around in the background and occasionally take off the glasses and smile.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be gorgeous, but cold. And then we're going to talk about a very interesting little weather pattern at the end of the month that we have our eye on, let's put it that way. We're getting towards winter weather season. We'll just leave it at that. Not calling for any winter weather yet, but if you're a snow fan, you might want to stick around for kind of what we're keeping an eye on there. So let's get things started and look at the big picture, and let's fly on over to the satellite image there. Big picture showing a couple areas to watch. It's kind of looping out, so I'm going to hit the refresh here real quick, and we'll let it reload. But one area I still kind of want to mention that could play a role in the forecast to come is that area down in the southern portions of the Caribbean. We're seeing a little bit of activity down there that, and remember, it's still hurricane season. We are on the 17th of the month. We have until the 30th of the month is the last day officially of hurricanes. Not that hurricanes care. We had a hurricane in January this year. Don't forget our first name storm was in January. But officially it doesn't end until the end of the month, and we're still watching something kind of semi-tropical down there that we're keeping an eye on, and that's this feature right there, which doesn't look like too much, and it's really not at this point, but National Hurricane Center has upped it from 10 to 20% chance of development, and I think if it does develop, it's not going to be, they only go out 5 days for these odds, and I think if it does develop into something, that it's not going to develop into something until beyond the 5-day period. So we have time to watch that. Even if it does come up, we're past the season of the Marias and the Irmas of the world. Category 5 season is over. It would be incredible if we had a 5 or any really major hurricane at this point in the season, because water temps are getting cooler, winds are getting less favorable. I wouldn't be worried about anything like that. It's just something tropical to kind of keep your eye on. And if you're traveling to the southeast, you'll want to watch it just because it could increase shower chances, perhaps as we head into next week. I'll show you what we're talking about in just a minute. There's the satellite. I showed you the live shot of the Capitol out there. There's a few high, thin clouds coming across. That's about it. What's up, Patricia? She said, let's keep having like days like yesterday, but let it snow on Christmas. I would love a white Christmas. I think I mentioned happy almost Thanksgiving to you too, Roger. I think I mentioned the other day that we haven't had a white Christmas since, or at least good amounts of snow on the ground for Christmas was 2009, I think, after the big blizzard we had on the 19th of that year. I think we had parts of the region get like 2-3 feet of snow just before Christmas. That was awesome. I don't think we're going to do that again this year, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe we get something that far ahead. I have no confidence. Again, there's satellite and radar. A few thin clouds streaming out of the northwest. Those will hang out throughout the day, but there's still going to be a decent amount of sunshine coming through. You can see the winds just from the motion of the clouds are coming out of the northwest today, so we're going to keep it on the cool side of things. Heading through the weekend, let's rewind this. So if you're planning your day, here's this model showing that we're not going to have any clouds start building in until the morning hours tomorrow. Tomorrow's more clouds than rain, in my opinion. I think the best chances for rain during the day or showers throughout the daytime or the daylight hours tomorrow are probably going to be this area up to the north, northern Maryland, panhandle of Maryland, panhandle of West Virginia, northern Montgomery, Frederick County, Maryland. Those kind of areas have a decent shot of seeing some showers. We do too here in D.C., but I think the highest risk is north during the daytime hours. Rain chances go up as you head towards the evening, and we'll kick up a breeze as well. This is heading into Saturday night. More rain kind of moves across, and as we get into Sunday, even though it's trying to fade away a little bit here, I don't necessarily buy that. I think we have the potential as the actual cold front itself comes through early Sunday morning, pre-dawn. We have a chance of getting some steadier, heavier rain in the region. The good news is that it's not going to ruin your weekend because we're pre-dawn hours of Sunday. And then by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, we're clearing it out, and we're eventually going to turn sunny and bright, but it will be quite windy. And windy, I'll show you how windy in just a second here. Let's talk snow, though, because on the back side of it, if you're traveling at all, or maybe you're traveling on Friday and you're traveling back during the day on Sunday, if you happen to be traveling north and west, or maybe to the mountains of West Virginia and Garrett County, Maryland, even westward facing slopes there as we head through the day Sunday, especially during the morning hours of Sunday, and even into once again into the evening hours, we could have yet another round fire up of these snow streamers coming off the Great Lakes here. Even though you kind of have to watch the temperatures here. So everything below that purple line here, or to the left of the purple line on your screen, is below freezing. So all of these little streamers you see are snow streamers coming off the Great Lakes, and some of them, especially this time of year, could contain some really heavy snows, at least briefly heavy snows. So if you happen to be traveling, or if you live out here, West Virginia, Maryland, Panhandle, watch out westward facing slopes for the chance for some snow. And this is pivotal weather showing one of the model outputs 2 to 4 inches of snow in the highlands only, upper elevated regions of the mountains of West Virginia and Maryland up through Pennsylvania, and then right along the Great Lakes there, 3 to 4 to 5 inches of snow possible, and some of the heavier streamers northwestern PA, southwestern New York state there, possibly seeing some snow as we head through the second half of the weekend into Monday morning. Here in D.C., could we squeeze out a flurry? If we did, it would be Sunday night into Monday. You do have a strong northwest wind coming right off the lakes. That's kind of one thing you want to see. And earlier this week, I thought we might have a decent chance at seeing a flurry or two in the D.C. region on Sunday night. But it's really struggling. We're drying out the atmosphere, so it's really struggling to get the moisture past the mountains. So we may not make the flurry activity this weekend. Sorry for it. Maybe Hagerstown. Hagerstown may see a flake, I guess, Sunday night. But that would be the chances aren't even in their favor in Hagerstown. It would be west of you that would have the best chance at seeing flakes, and certainly nothing accumulates anywhere east of the mountains, and even in the mountains, the lower elevations won't accumulate either. Looking at winds, just to let you know, tomorrow will be breezy. I would describe Sunday, particularly during the afternoon hours, as windy as cold air moves in. And just to give you an idea of how it's going to affect temperatures, Sunday's a weird day temperature-wise. So here's like our model output for what it's going to do on Sunday throughout the day. Look at 3 a.m. in the morning, so pre-dawn. That's when we're hitting our high around that time. Model's got 59 degrees, so that tells you Saturday night's probably going to be on the milder side of things, especially consider where we've been in the 30s and the 40s. But as we head through the course of the day, those temperatures are going to be dropping more and more. So Even though on the 7-day, which I'll show you in a second, we have 56 degrees as a high, we're talking early highs, and then afternoon we may struggle to get back to 50. I know the model's showing it there, but we could struggle all afternoon with partially sunny skies and decent wind. That sustained wind it's showing you there, we could have gusts of 30 to 40 Sunday afternoon with the colder air kind of spilling back into the region. That's going to remain with us through the day on Monday. We're going to be on the chilly side of things. All right, moving on. Here's temperatures. Just another way to look at it. Sunday morning, that's 58 in DC. I know it's hard to see, but just look at the colors. You can see where the warmth is. Front moves through, and then all Sunday afternoon, that's 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock temperatures. It's got 43 here. So just to give you another idea that Sunday is going to be a day where temperatures drop, and we'll clear it to sunshine, but we'll be chilly. All right, let's look ahead now, shall we? Let's look beyond. Holidays coming up. Thanksgiving right around the corner. This is Monday. So Monday looks dry here, sunny and bright. Tuesday we'll mix with some clouds. If we're unlucky enough, maybe Wednesday morning we squeeze out a shower, but by Wednesday afternoon we should be fine, just kind of a mix of clouds and the sunshine. And let's stop right here on Wednesday afternoon, because Wednesday's the busiest travel day for North America. Of course, everybody heading home, the holidays, Thanksgiving, fun, long weekend, all that stuff. Only concern areas if you're doing some travel. Off to the north, Great Lakes, you're going to Buffalo, you're going upstate New York. Watch out for a few snow showers off the lakes. I think it's worse this weekend than it is during the course of the week. But, you know, Buffalo, maybe you could see some delays if they get unlucky enough to get stuck under one of the snow streamers. A scattered flurry or isolated snow showers up through Maine. But the only real area that I think could see some decent delays would be Washington and Oregon State, particularly the coastline, Seattle, and maybe British Columbia if you're going to Vancouver. You can kind of see what it's doing right up here in the far northwest. There's a storm system coming on shore, and you could get some decent travel delays there. So if you're flying out west during the day on Wednesday, be prepared for maybe some delays out there. Other than that, it's a pretty quiet weather pattern for the rest of the country. You could have a storm or two come off the Gulf across the southern half of the United States, Florida Panhandle. Thanks, Tuck. Louisiana. But other than that, I think Travel Wednesday is probably fine. Yeah, thank you. It's not shiny enough, though. We'll get there eventually. All right, moving on to Thanksgiving Day. Here's Thanksgiving Day afternoon. Once again, a lot like Travel Day on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day is pretty quiet. I mean, if I outline everybody who's not seeing any weather, I mean, that's a good chunk of probably like 90% of the country's not seeing any significant weather on Thanksgiving Day. There were rumors on one of the websites of snowstorm on Thanksgiving Day. Yeah, I don't see anything and have no weather models going in that direction. We'll get beyond Thanksgiving Day in just a second here, but for those planning their Thanksgiving Day travels, not a lot to worry about. We're just dealing with cold temps. It's hard to see, but you see kind of the dashed blue lines. A lot of lines on this map, I know. I'm sorry if it's confusing. But just know that means, generally speaking, we're dealing with cooler temps. Northeast will be almost cold if you're heading up to the north and north of D.C. Here in D.C., we're chilly. It looks like 40s for daytime highs on Thanksgiving Day and warmer. In fact, let's do it. Here's temperatures, and I'll zoom in a little bit. We'll fly around the country, all across the country from Pivotal Weather here, showing high temps during the afternoon for Thanksgiving Day. So your nice warm stripes out in the plains, so if you're going to Texas, even up through portions of Montana, going to be 50s, 60s, through the Gulf states, 60s. There's your jackpot, 70s in Florida. That's where you want to be if you like warm weather. And then, you know, desert Southwest, they're always warm. Southern California is at a high of 84, it looks like, for Los Angeles on Thanksgiving Day. That's a warm one. And again, here in D.C., you can kind of see, if I'll quickly kind of draw the outline of where temperatures, everyone above that line is dealing with a temperature below 40 degrees, and then everybody kind of below this line is dealing with temperatures below freezing. So if you're going far northwest, upstate New York, upstate New England, you're going to be dealing with cold weather. But the good news is, weather-wise, most people looking just fine for Thanksgiving Day, just chilly. All right, now we get interested, or I'm already interested. Now we get interesting, and we look at things that could happen beyond Thanksgiving Day. Is a murky zone in the forecast world. The joke that everybody always writes on my Facebook and my Twitter, and Tucker's Facebook and Twitter is, hey, you can't even get the forecast right tomorrow. How are you going to know what it's going to do, 2 weeks from now? Well, we have ways of getting hints. We're pattern people here. We look for weather patterns, and we try and match up things that have happened in the past, and we kind of try to deduce what that pattern means in a general sense for our region. This is the pattern setting up for the weekend after Thanksgiving. I mentioned this a little bit yesterday. We weren't on Facebook, so I'll mention it today. If this pattern was a January pattern, I would be very excited for snow here in DC. I'd actually think we could get a big one, and I'll prove it to you right now. Notice, before I switch graphics here, notice where your reds and your blues are here. Troughs and ridges and blocks, that's what we're talking about. But just for the point of keeping it simple here, just know that where the position of these reds and oranges are locations where you're getting high pressure blocks that are forcing cold air south. So we're still looking at a chilly weather pattern into next weekend. That's, while not guaranteed, that's highly favored at this point. Storms form in areas where there's weaknesses, and there's a nice weakness here in the southeast. So if there's going to be a storm, it's probably going to develop there. But again, notice your blues here, and then your reds out through the middle here. Now let me focus on this, just to prove to you that we can get a big storm with this pattern. I'll flash back and forth. So this is a future. This is a past. What is this in the past? This is the January 2016 blizzard, or the week preceding, or the 5 days preceding the January 2016 blizzard. You remember that one. That was a big one here in DC. Difference, of course, is, timing. We're talking November versus January. But just notice the setup of everything. Nice big trough across the southeast. Trough extends out into the Pacific, the Atlantic, North Atlantic, North Central Atlantic. But more important than that, look at how the ridge extends from the southwest to up into the Hudson Bay and then up around the Greenland area. Notice that ridge there. Let's see. Yeah, notice that how the ridge goes there. And now back to the future. So this is the forecast. Notice the ridge. Notice the ridge up through Greenland. It comes around. Notice the trough down through the southeast that goes up into the Atlantic. So we just generally call them, it's a storm pattern. Does that mean that every time this pattern appears, we get January 2016? Absolutely not. We'd have a lot more snowstorms. However, I'm not going to rule out the potential of a very interesting storm around that time period, though I'm hesitant to say anything wintry in the DC metro area. But I think that there's the potential here that parts of the Northeast, or maybe the interior lands, could have themselves a halfway decent November storm if all the pieces come together. And what do I mean by that? Here's, we're going back to this little model graphic. We're going out beyond the Thanksgiving Day holiday. This is the Friday after, in fact, Black Friday. There's your storm forming in the weakness. Remember, the weakness is down here across the southeast U.S. There's your storm forming in the weakness. It's a little far south for my liking, but we'll keep going anyway. And then watch as it jumps off the coastline here and kind of develops into a little something right there. That's not the most ideal spot. Usually, if you want snow in D.C., you want to see it developing off the North Carolina coastline just south of Virginia Beach there, and then coming up north. The problem is right now, this is the European model, by the way. I don't look at the GFS this far out because it's not very good. But the ingredients are there to try and spin up a storm. It's not really good. It is spinning one up eventually here, like right at the end there, but it's not getting it all together in time for anything significant at this point, anywhere in the Northeast. What needs to change here if you're a snow lover and you want a November surprise? Here's what needs to happen. Let's go back again. We're looking at upper level energy here. This is key. We're going to do this a lot this winter as we track various winter storms. This is kind of the first test to see how we do. Know this, it's incredibly difficult to get anything, to just get measurable snow in DC in November is super hard to do. Hence why we're not, and disclaimer, not calling for anything yet. In fact, not even close to calling for anything yet. But I see how the pieces could come together where we need to do that. Does that make sense? I hope it does. First piece of energy comes through the day before Thanksgiving. That's Wednesday, Travel Wednesday. Should come through dry, not seeing a lot of shower activity with it at this time. As I mentioned, I thought Travel Wednesday would be fine here, just kind of a mix of clouds and sun. But that little stripe of orange, we're looking at atmospheric energy. That's the piece of energy, and whoop, I just lost my spot. There we go. That's going to push cold air down into the region. That's why we're going to get cold or chilly by the time we get to Thanksgiving Day. The next kind of piece we have to watch is that piece you see down in Texas, right, and it's going to jump on me. There we go. Right here, that's your storm energy piece. And then we have to watch the next wave coming out of Canada. Let me go forward. Here comes the next wave. So now we're out to Friday morning, Black Friday morning, beyond Thanksgiving. There's the storm energy trying to get itself together down there. And there is your cold, yet another wave of cold, another blast of colder air. If you want to storm, it doesn't matter if it's fall, doesn't matter if it's spring, doesn't matter if it's winter. If you want a big storm somewhere, here, northeast, interior, you need these pieces of energy to come together, what we call phasing. You need the top piece to phase with the bottom piece. They come together, they form a big storm, and they move up together. Right now, they're not phasing, and that's why there's no big-time storm on the model this morning. Again, the pieces are there, and can we potentially get there? Maybe. But this is kind of what we have to see happen over the next few days. They get awfully close. This is Saturday morning now. You got the storm energy piece off the Florida coastline, which is pretty far south. But if they, and then there's your cold energy piece there coming through the Midwest. We need these to kind of start to link up around that time so that the energy is more in this region, because that's more favorable for a phase off the coast there. Again, this is if you want a storm in DC around that time, which would honestly be pretty bad because this would be travel back time. So maybe we don't want this storm anywhere in the Northeast. Anyway, we get out to Saturday afternoon and evening. The storm energy itself is kind of fading a bit. The colder air coming in is starting to drag some energy away from it. They're trying to phase, but they don't really do it. It kind of gets washed out, and then by the time you get to Sunday morning, you've spun something up thanks to the energy getting rotated all around this upper level low up here in the Hudson Bay. But it doesn't have that classic nor'easter look that it would if those two pieces of energy decide to come together at the same time. Is it worth watching? Sure. I mean, A, we have nothing else to watch here in the Weather Center. We like watching things like that. B, I haven't seen a setup quite like this one in November in quite a while, or ever. That's a classic storm setup just from the upper levels down. Does that mean I'm saying that we're going to have snow the weekend after Thanksgiving? No, absolutely not. I'm far from getting there yet, although it is putting down some light flurries across the region that day. But we're not ready to do that yet. I just kind of wanted to let you know from a weatherman standpoint what we're watching beyond the Thanksgiving Day holiday. So I hope that makes sense. We'll hit it more on Monday. You know, we got the whole weekend to watch the models. We'll see how they deduce the two pieces of energy, whether or not they come together, and sometimes they just don't, and then we won't have to worry about anything beyond the Thanksgiving holiday. That is just something we'll be watching going forward. But again, as things stand right now, what we're getting pretty confident on is that Travel Day Wednesday, at worst we could squeeze out a shower, but right now it looks more of a mix of clouds and sun, but dry, and travel weather's fine here on Wednesday. And then Thanksgiving looks, actually, we had a mix of clouds and sun. In fact, I'll show you the 7-day here that we put together. Right, yeah, this is what we showed on the news this morning. So there it is at the end of the period. We're going with a mix of clouds and sun on Thursday. You know, the end of the 7-day period is always a little grainy. Maybe we have to throw a shower into Wednesday, and would be Wednesday morning on this. So maybe Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, as that new kind of air mass starts to pull in. we could see some cooler or some showers here and there. But right now, it doesn't look like anything huge. And then Thursday, you have a mix of clouds and sun, but if things pan out the way they are looking today, we could actually end up sunnier, but still on the cooler side of things. I got 48 degrees. It could be cooler. It might be a degree or two warmer, but what it doesn't look like on Thanksgiving is it doesn't look like 60 degrees at all. So, all right, I hope I didn't confuse everybody. I hope I didn't drive anybody nuts with with what I'm watching pattern-wise as we get towards the end of the month here. But that's a nice pattern to see. If you want a snowier winter than what we called for in our winter outlook, that's the type of pattern we need to see repeating as we get into December and January and February. We see that pattern in January and February when we're all systems go for something. And I would love to get some. Trust me, even though we put out the thing where we said we don't expect more than 1 or 2 4 to 8 inch snowstorms. I would love it to be wrong and get like a 12-inch or a 16-inch. I'm a snow guy. Tucker's a snow guy. We would love to see more. All right, that's it, guys. I'll be back on Monday. We'll take a look at kind of everything we did today and see what's changed. We'll update on Thanksgiving, and then we'll have some fun into next week as we get ready for the Thanksgiving holiday here, and hopefully you all at home too. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I have. Happy Friday. I haven't gotten many questions here. So if you have any questions, fire away. I'll give it a couple seconds. Otherwise, I'll take off, and we'll start our weekends together. And I stay dry this weekend, and Saturday's all right, showery here and there, and then rain kind of comes in Saturday night into Sunday, and then Sunday gets windy and colder throughout the day as the day kind of goes on. So I haven't seen any questions pop up, so I'll probably call it a day here, guys. Molly's coming up. She's coming up to do whatever's next, which usually is more news and politics. I stay away from the political situations because I do the weather and I don't know anything about politics, so I stay away from that kind of stuff. That's all I got, guys. Take care. Have yourself an awesome Friday. Have yourself an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
All right, hey guys, what's up? It's Molly here in the newsroom, coming off of Mike Thomas giving you the weather breakdown. If you're watching, you're probably watching on YouTube right now or on our website at the bottom of the page. Hope you guys are having a great Friday already. This is my enjoyable casual Friday look here inside the newsroom. We're going to be jumping around to a bunch of different stories that I don't want to miss, and that includes something that is happening right now, actually, guys. You know, we've been talking about this this whole week. The brand new museum opening up in D.C. is the Museum of the Bible. It's right near or on the National Mall at about 4th and D Southwest. If you're familiar with D.C. area, our reporter Bob Barnard was there this morning, got a really cool rundown on what it's going to be like and the grand opening and everything. And today, right now, going on in progress are the opening ceremonies for that museum. So we're going to go take you inside that. We're also going to break down the Mansion Murders podcast. We've been talking about that for weeks. It's coming to its conclusion. I believe with the 6th episode, we're going to have Judith, who's on the desk, who is a big part of it, talk about that. So what I'm going to show you now is a look inside this opening ceremony. And also at the same time, I don't want to miss this either. Check it out. This is a live look at a Women for Roy Moore. We've been talking about this story as well. Roy Moore, of course, accused of sexual harassment and assault in his past. Now, of course, he is in Congress, and it's become part of the whole story this week of sexual harassment in lawmakers' offices, in Congress, in government. So these women are there to talk about why they support him, actually. This is in Montgomery, Alabama. So a live look at that. So we'll kind of jump between each thing so you can kind of get a taste of everything. And then we'll take it into the newsroom and talk to some of the reporters and people who will break down what they're working on and just chat a little more on this Friday. So I want to make sure you guys feel free to live chat with me. Please do let me know any questions or comments that you have on the stream as we go through the day today on this Friday, November 17th, guys. All right, let's keep it local in DC and go down to the Museum of the Bible, where they're opening up the opening ceremonies for tonight's opening at the museum. Very exciting stuff. Let's check it out.
Book that use it as a guide for their life, and we just want to take some time and celebrate and dedicate this space to our God. Over the next many months and years, we would anticipate millions of people coming through this facility, celebrating, being inspired to learn more about this book and to know it better. You know, if we were to take some time and have time with each one in this room, if you were able to spend some time with each one in this room just to discuss your thoughts and beliefs on this book, you eventually would find differences with everyone in this room, because none of us have this book figured out. We are all on a journey. We will never fully delve the depths of this book. That's an amazing part of this book. But we want to take a moment to set our differences aside and say, here is a book that has changed our world, that has impacted lives, and we want to celebrate it in this facility here today. So we are honored to have you to be a part of being a part of this phenomenal building that points people to a book that has had such an impact on our world that it's hard to describe, it's hard to fully grasp. There are people walking the street that have no idea to the degree that this book has impacted their life, and yet it has. And hopefully they will come and they will see that, and they will know that it has had a positive impact on their life in so many different ways. And when they leave, hopefully they will be inspired to open it, to engage with it, and to get to know it better. Let me ask you a question. Have you read your Bible today? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't encourage you to engage with this book yourself. You can download it free. If you have a smartphone, put it on your smartphone. Pick a Bible app. Pick a reading plan. Pick a language. Engage with this book. Let it have an impact in your life, as it has my life, our family's life, and so many people all over the world. Because that's ultimately what we want to do, is we just want to encourage and inspire and engage and hopefully motivate people to engage with this book, to let it have an impact on their life. Now, it's my understanding that I am the only thing standing between you and more of the beautiful voice of CeCe Winan. So I'm going to take care of that. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the great CeCe Winans.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored and humbled to be a part of this historical event, and I'm godly proud of the Greens family and everyone who's been a part of bringing this magnificent vision to reality. My prayer is that when people hear about this museum and when people get a chance to experience it, they would fall in love with our Heavenly Father. This song is a prayer called Let Them Fall in Love.
Hey guys, so while she sings as part of this opening ceremony, I want to bring a split screen to you guys and bring you this shot of the Women for Roy Moore. Of course, he's the American politician down in Alabama who is now facing sexual assault allegations. And this is a group of women who support him. They're speaking out in support of Judge Roy Moore. Let's listen into that. And we'll kind of throw it to each source here and there as we see fit to keep it varied and interesting. And then we'll take it back into the newsroom in a little bit. But enjoy this coverage, guys. We're going to keep it varied for you. Let us know what you think, where you're watching from, and any other questions, throw them my way.
My family and I have known the Moores over the past several years. Judge Moore has been a role model and a statesman, and he has continually defended our individual rights as well as our liberties in the sovereign state of Alabama. He is a hero, knowing the dangers and consequences to himself. He repeatedly has stood in the breach to defend others, and I know of no one else who has constantly risked it all for what is right. I dare say that there has not been a politician as bold, determined, and courageous in fighting for the cause of liberty and our rights since the times of John Quincy Adams. His personal passion for doing what is right is driven by his knowledge of the truth and a fear of God. There is no one that any of us has witnessed in politics who has continually chosen the harder right over the easier wrong. He is the type of statesman that our nation so desperately needs. He exemplifies his alma mater in duty, honor, country. When teaching my children about the American idea and the original intent of our founding fathers, I frequently turn to Roy Moore's booklet that explains the law of nature and nature's God. Find me another senator or any national leader who not only understands, but also lives out and practices these truths articulated by our founding fathers. If we want to bring this nation back to its original intent, we need Roy Moore in the Senate because there is no one like him. He is the closest thing that any of us have observed to a founding father in our time. De Tocqueville said, "America is great because she is good. If she ceases to be good, she will no longer be great." The left knows this, and this is why they have attacked morality. The judge has stood in defense of morality, understanding that there is an absolute truth. He always stands up for what is right. And so, President Trump, if we are going to make America great again, we need to start with Roy Moore's principled leadership in the Senate. For those who do not know Judge Roy Moore personally, having been around Judge Moore over the past years, I completely believe he is the real deal. When a man is completely sold out for Christ, as is he, it shows in words and actions. For those of you who have had the opportunity to hear him speak, you know that he visibly holds his honor dear as an officer and a gentleman. For those of you who do not appreciate Roy Moore's Christian convictions, you are still better served by a man who is uncorruptible and believes that the government should not be trusted to rule over your life. He not only is protecting my religious freedoms as a Christian, he is protecting all of our inalienable rights from a corruptible government. On corruption, it is self-evident that the reason Senator Mitch McConnell would rather have a liberal Democrat who believes in murdering babies in the name of convenience and has spent millions of dollars to defeat Roy Moore in the Senate is because Senator McConnell is fearful of him. Roy Moore is led by truth and not by cronyism or partisan politics. Roy Moore is uncorruptible, and McConnell has seen that in him, and so he does not want him in Washington. The ferocity of the media is another indicator that his arrival is.
Yeah, guys, I don't know how interesting this one is to you, but I want to kind of keep it varied. So let's go back full screen to the opening ceremonies of the Museum of the Bible, which is very exciting. Like I said, we had a live look inside that museum this morning as our reporter Bob Barnard was on the story. I'm going to see if I can snag him if he comes back in and give us a little more of a debrief of what that was like. So let's go back to that ceremony and take it live from there.
Staff also for helping us open this extraordinary museum. Thanks also to their spouses and the families who've made the many sacrifices to make this day come true, including my own wife, Beth, who's sitting right here. Thank you. You can applaud her. We gave a big shout out to our consulting scholars, our volunteers, our docents, and we know that we couldn't operate without them. I want to thank again, as Cary did, the Smith Group Architects led by David Greenbaum and the Clark Construction Group led by Brian Flagel. And thanks to all of our exhibit designers, including C&G Partners, the PRD Group, Jonathan Martin Creative, BRC Imagination Art, and Coldwater Media. We must also thank our exhibit installers and our curators who came from all over the world and our partners from all over the world who loaned exhibits to us. We offer a special thank you to Dan Murphy and Philip Brady and Harry Hargrave and Jim Schofield. And to the city of Washington, D.C., what a wonderful city this is, and its leaders, and its media, and our peer museum leaders. They were so gracious in welcoming us to the district. We must also thank our 50,000 plus members and growing. If you're not a member, there's a hint. And donors in particular. And we appreciate, of course, our largest donor family, that would be the Green family, led by the sagacious David and Barbara Green. That's worth a round of applause right there. I want to thank our corporate board of trustees. I want to thank its chair, Steve Green, and his wife, Jackie. I want to thank our CEO, Cary Summers, for his visionary focus, and his wife, also Jackie. We're grateful for all of the vice presidents of the corporation and the leaders and the staff of that entire organization. Finally, I give a heartfelt thanks to my co-chair and all these grand opening events that we put together and worked hard on. Her name is Linda Coldenhoven. I want to thank her. I want to thank the committee members, also Shannon Bennett, Sasha Field, and Kehlani Lessman. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. I want you to know that it's not just people in the museum that are celebrating this dedication. We had people across the nation celebrating the dedication, and many churches rang their bells at 11/17 on 11/17 in commemoration of this grand opening. Thank them too. So now I'll ask the stage party. We're going to have a ceremonial ribbon cutting at the entrance down off on the first floor. And then for the rest of you, you can join us if you want. I don't think there'll be enough room for everybody. But if you're hungry, like most of us are, I want the people in the theater, if you would just go to the 6th floor, one floor up to the gathering room. We have a buffet for you. And then for those of you in the overflow, we have food tables on, I believe, floors 3, 4, and 5 that you'll find very convenient for you right out of where you are at this moment. So with that, thank you so much for joining us today. God bless.
Yeah, pretty cool, guys, right? Thank you so much for watching today, and I see some of your comments. Happy Friday, everybody. Super excited to be here with you. That was a live look inside the Museum of the Bible, and like I said, Bob, our reporter, is there, actually. I think he is attending these ceremonies, so he is there. We'll come back with some more information. I'm going to bug him for some more details. But yeah, I was reading about it. You can get time tickets online. I think some of them are packed in now because everyone gets excited about new museums, but I'm definitely going to try to go to this one for sure. It's on my radar. As we have more information about this and more details, we'll bring that to you guys. Yeah, I was, if you did live in DC, you could definitely come as well, Schulte. That'd be fun. All right, so let's switch it up. I want to go back. We'll go back to the women in Alabama, guys, who are supporting Roy Moore even after he has now these sexual assault allegations in years past. We're going to go down there.
We could never, ever vote for his opposition. Did I get yours too?
Yeah, don't take mine away.
Thank you.
I have done that before. Shanna Chambly is from Titus, Alabama. She's the Deputy Director of Legislative Affairs for Gun Rights Incorporated, and she is a mother of 11. She has some professional experience with the judge, so give us your take.
Good morning. I'm Shanna Chambly, and as Becky noted, I'm a mother of 11 children, first and foremost, a homestead farmer. I'm also a Deputy Director of Legislative Affairs for Alabama Gun Rights Incorporated, which has endorsed Roy Moore. And I have been in multiple political, professional settings, mostly related to gun rights and Republican politics with Roy Moore and his wife Kayla, and I can say that nothing but godly Christian character and respectable attitude came from them. I've had very candid, open conversation with them about our gun rights, and I'm going to take a slightly different approach than what the other people have. We've had everybody here attest to the fact that he's an honorable Christian man, and I feel absolutely 100% confident that he's the man to send to our U.S. Senate that will protect my right to protect myself from the type of creeps that he's being accused of being.
That's right.
I will stand as a strong woman and say that without our second, we have none. And Roy Moore will protect that. And he will protect life. As a mother of 11, I've given birth to 4, I've adopted 4, and I have 3 that are permanent custody that were former fosters. I believe in life. I believe in protecting life, and Roy Moore believes in protecting life. And I'm a young Republican that stands with Roy Moore. I'm a mother that stands with Roy Moore. God bless Alabama. God bless Roy Moore as our next U.S. Senator.
Yes. She doesn't look like she has 11 kids, does she? I think I'd look really haggard. Janet Porter is one of our guests that we are honored to host this morning. Showing her support for Judge Roy Moore and his family was so important to her that she flew in from Ohio and held her own press conference yesterday with over 20 faith leaders in Birmingham. Mrs. Porter is the president and founder of Faith to Action, the nation's largest network of pro-family groups. Faith to Action is a pro-life, pro-family, and pro-active to win the culture war for liberty, life, and the family. Janet hosts a 60-second daily radio commentary which airs in 200 markets. She's also a frequent contributor to WorldNet Daily. We are thankful that she has cleared her schedule to join us this morning at the Capitol.
Thank you so much.
Most of you have received a copy of this letter that national leaders have signed on to support Judge Roy Moore and Kayla Moore. When I left yesterday, the state of Ohio, it had the number of names you see, several pages of names of pro-family leaders. But today, in one day's time, there's now more than 300 national leaders and pro-family people who have signed on to this letter in support of Judge Roy Moore. The support goes beyond the people of Alabama. It's beyond because we've known Judge Roy Moore. I've known Judge Roy Moore for nearly 20 years. And what you'll find is the people that know Judge Moore the best are the ones who are standing with him now. I mean, think about this. Think for a second. It's true. Think about how implausible this is. The case that's being made is that somehow this godly, honorable, principled, strong leader has been faking being such a man for 40 years, every day, in every capacity. You just can't pull that off for 40 years. Nobody can. It's absurd. I'm here to tell you that I watched some of the coverage, and I never thought I'd be here at a press conference saying anything good about MSNBC or CNN, the new MSNBC. Sorry, but this is an interview that was actually fair. More than softballs were thrown to Gloria Allred, and I have the transcript for anybody that wants it. I have the transcript from this interview, very telling what the attorney for Judge Roy Moore's accuser had to say. Listen to this. She's basically admitting that it doesn't matter if there's single shred of evidence, this yearbook, it doesn't matter if it's a fraud. She's going to still pursue the campaign to take down this honorable man. Listen to the transcript. Question, very fair question. If an independent analysis shows that, do I wait for the rings? Maybe we do that. And we have really a moment in time. As the bells ring, we have this moment in time to make a decision. This is a time of choosing about the kind of state we're going to have, the kind of nation we're going to have. And this is what I know. If they are successful in assassinating the character and ruining the career of Honorable Judge Roy Moore, then none of us are safe. I'll read the transcript now. I join with those who said earlier 3 words. This whole situation, it can be solved with 3 words, like the bells of justice are ringing. 3 words. The 3 words I have for Gloria Allred is release the book. Yes. That will solve all of this. But she won't. And let's find out why. Here's the transcript from MSNBC of all places. Question. If an independent analysis shows that this is not his signature, does that disprove your client's allegations? Gloria actually had the audacity to answer, quote, no, it doesn't. In other words, if she lied about what's written in the yearbook, if she's not credible in any way, if the single shred of evidence that they have is shown to be fraudulent, she doesn't care. Because it's not about facts, it's not about the truth, it's not about women. It is about an assassination attempt of an honorable man who's running for the U.S. Senate in the state of Alabama. Let me read you just a couple more clips from this interview. And I did the research. I stayed up all night so you wouldn't have to do the transcript. Here it is. She finally admitted what it was. She basically said, and here's the question, a very good question, by the way. What sort of jurisdiction do they have, meaning the Senate? What kind of jurisdiction does the U.S. Senate have on a private citizen who's not a senator? She said, well, that's correct. He's not a senator. But I have this is Gloria Allred, direct quote. I have this particular former United States senator that said, absolutely, of course they can have a hearing. This is politics. Now you get it. It's not about the facts. It's not about the truth. It's not about releasing proof of this allegation. It's about...
Guys, if you're joining us on the stream, let us know what you think about this. I see some of you are already commenting about these accusations and what you think about these women. Pretty interesting stuff. This woman seems pretty fervent in her thought about continuing to support this politician. By the way, this is Judith. Oh yeah, let me get you one.
Yeah.
This is Judith from the assignment desk. She's here.
Hello.
We're going to switch gears a little bit in a second to talk about the podcast that we've been promoting here at Fox 5 that is now in completion. And yeah, no problem. She's going to put it in her shirt. Okay. So we're going to talk about the final episode and sort of what it, I guess, sort of what it takes to be part of it. We get a little inside look as to how you were part of this podcast, how you did a lot of the writing, the research, and contributed to producing it. So one of our assignment desk girls here.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, and we're waiting for one other colleague that helped with it. So we'll jump back into this pretty passionate, I would say, rally
Very passionate. Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised to see this.
Yeah, and
Is this in Alabama?
Oh, Schulte says, hey guys.
Hello.
This is in Montgomery, Alabama, exactly. And I see that one of you already also said that you are surprised that he has such support from all these women. Yeah, it does seem to be a pretty big crowd. I haven't actually seen the pan out here, but they got their stickers, they got
they've got their
formalized signs. So, and again, it seemed pretty passionate, her speech. So I don't know, worth listening into. I think let's jump back in there.
Allowing that brutal practice to take place, and that's what the people of Alabama. That's the decision they're making. So we just stand with Judge Roy Moore, and I am completely and totally, without equivocation, will stand with him. And I don't care if y'all come up with an allegation that he robbed a bank next week. They may say, well, it looks like it could be him under that mask. You know, oh my goodness, now it's a liquor store, and now it's something else, and oh, those allegations are so serious, they'll say on Capitol Hill, because maybe we need him to step. No. They're not calling for Al Franken to step down, by the way. Did you notice that? You know, the guy's guilty. He's got a picture. He's admitted it. And yet, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Ted Cruz, they're not calling for him to step down. How about the hypocrisy? Can we report on that? Thank you for your time, and I thank you for being here today.
We're almost done, guys. Our next guest has been actively involved in this Senate race since the primary. Amy Kramer is a longtime friend of mine. She was one of the original founders of the nationwide Tea Party movement that began in 2009. She is a rock star in conservative grassroots politics and currently heads the Women for Trump Political Action Committee. They have endorsed Judge Moore in the Senate race and are steadfastly standing with him. She is fired up, and she is ready to tell you why she's standing with the judge.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, all of you, for being here, and thank you to the media for being here. I know that the eyes of the nation are on this race right now, and I am here to give the judge our support. We have endorsed him, and we stand strongly with him. I have campaigned across this country since 2010, focused on Senate races and House races. We have seen this time and time again. Mitch McConnell and company think that they know what is better for us than we know ourselves. The DC Washington bubble is completely out of touch with reality, out of touch with the homeland. We've seen what they did in Mississippi in the 2014 cycle with the Mississippi race. You look at Kansas with Milton Wolf. I mean, we could go down the list. And it's not just Mitch McConnell, it's Paul Ryan too. They're all in it together. That's right. They should have learned last cycle in 2016 that Americans are tired of this. We elected Donald Trump because we want a fighter. End of story. We want somebody that is going to stand up and fight. And after Donald Trump walked through the fire and did not back down, they had met their match. And Donald Trump is our president today. And right here in this state, we have a candidate that has walked through the fire, not just this election cycle, but over the years as he's campaigned, not in just local races, but in statewide races for the Supreme Court Justice of the state of Alabama, twice. And none of this has come out. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Mitch McConnell's playbook for the next several years. If there is a candidate that he cannot control, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. I never would have believed it 10 years ago that something this horrific could happen, that people could come out and make these kind of accusations, but it's happened to my family in the Tea Party movement. People that should be on the same side as myself, and they have attacked my family. Go look it up in the state of Georgia. There's litigation going on right now about it, and it's horrific. And I will not stand by and watch it happen to somebody else without standing by them and saying this isn't right. This is not Washington's choice. This is not Washington's choice. This isn't DC's choice. This is the people of Alabama's choice. And let me tell you something. If you think that they're not smart enough, that they can't comprehend what's in front of them, you are sadly mistaken. They have the ability to comprehend what's in front of them, and they have the ability to make the decision for themselves. I would suggest Mitch McConnell and company focus on passing tax reform and repealing and replacing Obamacare and leave these races to the states. And while they're at it, I think President Trump, should pull the plug on their Cadillac insurance plan for all members of Congress. You want Obamacare repealed and replaced? The fastest way to do it is to make members of Congress live under the same rules that you and I do, and it'll get done immediately. And the last thing I want to say is we've just found out in the past couple days about this slush fund. $15 million that's been paid to protect people, members of Congress and staffers. That is unacceptable. I'm sorry, but that's a CYA, a cover your ass fund. And you know what? That's with our tax dollars, and we are not having it. I demand today, Women for Trump demands that Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan release the names of the people who have committed this bad behavior and money's been paid on their behalf. If they're going to commit this behavior, type of behavior, then let them go pay for it out of their own pocket. But we, the people, have a right to know. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, people are saying, oh, this is the Democrats. That's a bunch of BS. It's not the Democrats. And the way we know that is because look at how it's happened the last 30 days of this race. And you have Al Franken, who has come out and admitted to doing these horrible things, and there's photographic evidence. Has Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Jeff Flake, John McCain, have any of them called for Al Franken to resign from the U.S. Senate? And don't even get me started on Robert Menendez. I mean, that's a whole other story. We are tired of this double standard. We are tired of it. They work for us, and we expect them to do the work that we sent there to do, that they're sent there to do. And Judge Roy Moore will represent the people. And the last thing I'll say is, I'm a war eagle. And I know in Alabama at this time of the year, you're either War Eagle or Roll Tide. I think that the one thing that all of us War Eagles or Roll Tide can agree on is that Roy Moore is the best choice for the state of Alabama. Otherwise, you're going to get somebody that votes for New York, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, San Francisco values, and that's not what we need. Alabama needs to elect the next senator, Judge Roy Moore, and we look forward to seeing him through on this race. Amen.
Our final guest is the other half of the man we are supporting. Kayla has been married to Roy Moore for over 3 decades. They have been through the fire more than once, which is one of the reasons why we believe that they will victoriously survive this fire as well. Kayla and her family have endured vicious attacks from the media and from those who do not agree with them politically. Kayla is a strong woman of faith, and she knows without a shadow of a doubt that God is with her and her husband no matter what happens. Please welcome Kayla Moore.
Wow, we're in a battle. Who knew? Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your messages, your phone calls. I'm so sorry I can't get to them all. We've just been inundated with so much positive response from the people of Alabama. For the record, it's about 90% positive. And most of the negative is from out of state. The people of Alabama understand what's going on here. My husband, Judge Roy Moore, is fighting for the people of Alabama and has been fighting for over 30 years. The people of Alabama know him. They have seen what he has done, fighting for life, fighting against abortion, fighting for the acknowledgement of God, fighting for traditional marriage, and fighting to protect the Second Amendment, and fighting for our rights given by God, protected by our Constitution. So the liberal press, Washington Post, who endorsed Hillary Clinton, who also endorsed our opponent, gets involved in this race, along with the Human Rights Campaign, the DNC, and the Washington establishment, all of the very same people who were attacking President Trump, are also attacking us. I personally think he owes us a thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to bring it back into the newsroom and drop out of that rally in Montgomery, Alabama. I saw that a lot of you guys were commenting on it, and I'm actually not quite sure what group of women that was. We were watching it for a second. I'm here with Ronnie and Judith, who are part of, you've seen them before probably on the stream, part of the podcast team behind the Mansion Murders podcast that we've been talking about for weeks now, and it's up on our site and everywhere. And this is the videographer and the researcher for that podcast. So we want to, I guess let's pull it full screen and kind of take out of this rally. Pretty interesting stuff there, though. If you guys do have thoughts or comments, do leave them in the chat, and we can chat more about them in a bit. But let's change gears a little bit and talk about this podcast. It's in its completed state.
All done.
Hard to believe.
6 episodes.
It's
Yeah. So cool. So what was it like? I mean, just fill in some of our viewers about what exactly you guys did, what this series is, and sort of what it was like to work on. I guess general stuff, really.
We started actually January. I know Sarah came up to me. So we started going around trying to search and develop to see where we're going to go with the project.
Last January, right?
Yeah.
2016?
No, 2017.
Was it?
It seems so long. I mean, so far ago. But yeah, it's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially,
so
it's
beginning of this year.
yeah.
So, and then I think we probably started wrapping up interviews around May. But we started getting more development, so we'll go back out throughout the summer, catch a little bit of interviews here and there. But for the most part, we got a bulk of the interviews done within January to May.
Yeah.
The first episode was actually done and approved by like June.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we just had to wait for the perfect time to drop it. And
get everything else together.
So if some of the viewers don't know, this is a 6-part series podcast, right? That chronicles this famous murder case that is still to this day unsolved, right?
Well, they have arrested one suspect, and he's still in custody. Hasn't had his trial yet, and that'll start September, October of next year.
Okay.
2018.
And this was so this was a family. A basic summary of it. A family.
Yeah, a family of 5. It was the housekeeper, the parents, and then one son. And held overnight into the morning, and then killed. I think they estimate what in the morning that they were killed, right before the fire was set, and then the house was set on fire, and they were just arrested one person for it.
Wow.
1%. Yeah.
Now, does that open up to now that this is completed and people have been watching it? Does it open up doors for you guys to do another Sunday series as this guy goes through the trial? What does it open the doors for the future on this case for you guys?
Yeah, I think that's what we kind of hope to do once the trial starts, and then kind of like leading up to it if there are any updates with hearings and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we're all kind of just excited to see what's going to happen. And
because everyone wants to know. It's just one of those odd cases, you know.
Yeah,
and then
so
it's
many weird things.
It's big, pretty big for DC.
Yeah.
The area that it all took place.
Are they? I don't know the actual case now. Are they final and saying that they think it was just this one suspect, or were there multiple?
Well, they haven't really said.
Okay.
Which is the difficult part with it, because like in the search warrants in the beginning, they say that they I don't remember the wording, but they thought that more than one person had to be involved from their investigative knowledge. But they've only arrested one person, and then we've reached out and contacted them and kind of like about updates and things like that and what they think, but it's really been very tight-lipped and not really any information, which I mean we get it's an investigation, but you'd think there would be some kind of indication either way.
So TBD on what more they say about it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what was it like, I guess sort of more like the technical aspect of it, of doing this podcast and doing the research and the videography, as well as your full-time stuff here? Like you're a photog, you're on the assignment desk. How was that like?
You have to go
What's
because
it
the research it was all Judith, so I give her credit for that. Like she had to go deep into all the court
It was fun, and I mean just kind of tracking everything down, and there's a lot of information out there in the public domain for sure that you can find, and then just kind of a different perspective from covering it on the desk and finding information that way, then researching it again from like the beginning from a different perspective of the podcast, where things that I thought I remembered were different, or you know what I mean, because you're covering so many different other things throughout the day. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Is there like a legal way that you have to put a citation for something that you find, or like is there a way to do it so that it's fact checked? I mean, I don't even know the process of creating something like this. So
yeah, it's mostly on. I mean, we just mostly used like public documents and talking to people.
Now, we received a lot of information, but there's not
thrown
a lot
at
of
you.
stuff. Oh yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just people knowing that you guys are working on it.
Yeah, and just like a lot of just tips and information and
people
things like that.
You talk with.
Yeah.
But if we can't get like sources or anything like that, we can't put that information out there. So I mean, it's a lot to the case that have you probably going like, whoa, who knows?
Like
how
maybe
it
there's
actually
that.
happened. Yeah,
Oh wow.
It's a lot of that. It's a
Right.
lot
It's
of
a lot
that.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you only could say what's pretty much out there. That's public information.
Which makes it hard.
Yeah.
So.
And okay, so what drew you to this case? I know you have a personal connection with Sarah Fraser, who's also part of the podcast team and put it together. It's her voice on it. Big props to Sarah, who's not here today, but she's always on.
Her idea.
Yeah. So props to Sarah. But then, do you guys have a personal connection? Do you love personally love this story? Had you been looking into it, or do you like crime stuff? I mean, is this your thing? I'm interested because I know Jackie loves it. She's in the newsroom. She loves this type of
It's
stuff.
kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Like you read about it for fun.
Yeah,
in general.
I've just always been interested in true crime in general.
True crime, right?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it, and just bizarre story and horrible death and just bizarre. Just again, more questions than answers. Like it just doesn't make any sense at all from what we're seeing on evidence and the suspect and everything else. It just doesn't go together.
Right.
Nice. I agree.
What about you?
I mean, so
I love
well,
him.
this is just different because me being just a videographer, photojournalist. This was just a new way of trying to tell a story. So I thought that was
that's
cool
neat.
with the podcasting and stuff like
What
that.
was so different? Like, give me like a main difference between your normal day to day and what stood out to you? What was remarkable about doing a podcast?
The fact that this was like a long going process versus a story
Day-to-day.
like I'm about to go out soon.
Yeah.
And, we're doing this story was 12:21. We'll probably have a news update for you at 5 o'clock. So having like a long process to do a story or trying to tell it in a different way.
Did you like that better? The longer process?
Yeah, it was different. Yeah,
That's a good question.
for sure.
Actually, it's different than finishing up something in a day and getting what you have in that moment. It's fast paced. It's changing.
And you can kind of get more information out there versus trying to like cram it within like a minute or 2 minutes.
So cool.
Long. So yeah, I do like this whole process. It was great. And the podcasting is just different because it's more audio, and so you have a video guy, and
Isn't
it's
that
just
funny?
like, how's this going to work? So it was cool. It was cool.
Are you getting a lot of people kind of giving feedback or writing in or talking personally to you or emailing you? How does that even work? Are they?
Yeah, I think
giving feedback?
we've gotten a lot of tips. I think to Sarah and
great response
and
on our
we have a
Facebook group.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So where can
They do
people
wanna see
check
it.
that out? It's
Yeah,
called
it's called
The Murder Mansion.
The Mansion
Murders.
Murders.
Oh, The Mansion Murders.
The Mansion Murders.
Okay.
It's a Facebook group. People leave all kinds of comments. Paul Wagner, one of our reporters who covered it, he's in there.
A lot of
and
discussion
yeah,
going
a lot
on.
of discussion.
If you have questions, some people will go in and chime in on what they think, and then like she said, Paul Wagner will jump in. Who's
there's been a lot of
very
interesting
good at
comments and
digging
things.
into stuff.
Jerome.
Hey, Jerome.
One of our producers.
Yeah.
Hanging
And
out.
So we have
The comments have been interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just it's almost like crowdsourcing, just like different ways of different perspectives of what might have happened, or questions or things that we never thought of, or
Yeah. Interesting. So where can people find the recap of where everybody can check this out if you guys do want to start watching or listening rather?
Well, you can download it on iTunes or Stitcher.
Audio Boom, and then they can go on our webpage as well too.
Yeah.
They have all 6
perfect.
episodes.
Our site, foxwdc.com.
Yep.
Makes it easy.
So cool, guys. Well, thanks for the recap.
Yeah, no problem.
Great to have you on. So now it's all out there. People can go listen, and hopefully
all
we
6,
see.
binge them. You can
Yeah.
binge
Yeah, you
them.
can binge it.
Yeah.
That's what I think I would have
I
wanted.
had a lot of people say
Yeah.
that.
wanted
That's
that.
how I normally
Watch or listen.
Yeah.
Me too.
podcast
I'm still
stuff.
behind on Stranger
Get
Things.
all of
but-
them because then I'm just like,
Yeah. So hopefully TBD, another follow-up series coming, or
Well, yeah, we'll see.
We'll
There's
see.
got to be update. There's going to be some updates, I think, leading up to it, and then once the trial
'Cause
starts,
people are going to follow when the trial begins.
Yeah.
It's
oh
gonna be
yeah,
real
which is
interesting.
relatively soon. You said, or
September
yeah,
next
September,
year. So
yeah.
we still
it's a
got some
bit.
time.
Not too far. Yeah,
A
maybe
good
7
year.
months.
But I mean,
I was like a year.
A good,
a good 8. No, a good 10. We can't do math.
after, though.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. So
After
when
the
did this
murder.
happen? The murder was
2015 of May.
Mhm.
May 2015.
That's
And then the trial doesn't
right.
start until September.
I remember that time.
Yeah.
It was a big cold case in this area.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere, actually, it was national.
So it's just around the corner from the vice president's house, so that's why it's so big. And then the
Yeah, I mean,
neighborhood
national
is,
media was here in like within 2 days. A day.
At the time, Biden was around, or like, was that a thing? Was
Yeah,
it?
that's his neighborhood, right?
It was his hood.
Yeah, and Biden was the current VP at the time. So
Yeah, Schultze saying, is this an upcoming podcast? Yeah, it's a podcast that is now out. It's in
already
completion. And it is, the crime that they're researching is the murder of a family and their housekeeper.
Yes, Populous family.
Yep, it's Valpo's family in May 2015 in the DC area. Like we just said, they were right around the corner from the vice president's house. So sort of a wealthy and, of course, notable area.
The house is no longer there.
Yeah,
It's
they
been
raised
Oh, I was
it.
going to ask.
Yeah.
Really?
Someone bought the land, demolished the property.
Whoa.
They just want to rebuild too.
That is wow.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to live in it.
Haunted.
Yeah.
And I haven't listened to the nitty-gritty details of it, but was it in really bad disarray, the house when it was found? Like, was it slick?
I
Was
actually
it
never went
really
there.
gruesome?
You were out at the scene.
Yeah, all you could see was just boarded up.
Okay.
It just seemed like it was a fire.
It
Like
was a-
you see homes that are boarded up after a fire. That's what it pretty much looked like.
You could see fire damage from the outside, right? Or no? Not really.
Probably, I think where it was like a corner where the room.
Okay.
where
So
it
they were slain and then there was a fire set? Right. It makes it look like arson. Or wait, it makes it look like fire.
Yeah.
Or trying to find the evidence. We can't
Yeah,
say.
we don't know.
We can't say. Yeah, it's just whatever's just out there in the books and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked to a lot of people, so people definitely listen. We spoke to Darren Wint, who was the one that's been charged, his sister for
Yeah.
the first time. So that's definitely like
Yeah.
a big get for the podcast. And then two of the lawyers who did represent him, he's currently on 4 now. So it's just interesting. You just get a different take of the whole case.
Yeah,
as a
that's
whole.
really interesting. A lot of different people.
Mhm.
So cool, guys. All right, I guess that's it for the questions.
Oh yeah.
People chatting.
Yeah.
Things are hanging on, and you're gonna go out and do your normal day.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you're working on today?
Oh yeah, it's kind of
I think it might have changed.
Inside look as to what people are looking.
Ashley yelled something out that I think it might have changed.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Judith is part of the assignment desk where all the assignments go out for the day. And so she sees the changes in the moment. You'll probably see her on again. We'll talk more news stuff. And then Ronnie's a photographer, video journalist, photojournalist.
Yep.
About to go out on a story, but it's changed. So gotta
That's
check
how
into
rolls,
it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for the recap on the podcast.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll hopefully talk to you guys again. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. No, roll out of here. Cool to talk about that. It's an interesting podcast. I know. I'm behind. I'm super behind on this. Wait, how many people died in total? Is asking the family and the housekeeper?
Yeah, so it was Salvis, his wife Mamie, son Philip, and
His wife,
the
son,
housemaid.
housekeeper. 4.
So 4 people total. Yep. And they leave behind 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Who were in the house or not? I can't remember. They were not.
Yep.
Right.
They're still around.
It's wow. Thanks for the details, guys.
The president meeting with a bunch of NCAA teams. Once again, tape playback.
All right, we're going to jump over to the president, guys. We're just getting in some tape playback of the president meeting with some NCAA players. We're going to go over there.
Women's rugby, that's tough. I wonder if I could make that too. Thank you. We have plenty of time.
They go in on it, see how we can go in. But we can't have some more regular. I don't know, hopefully we're doing it. But I
Thank you very much. Say hello to the people. Are they going to win today? They're in a contest. That's a good one. Thanks for your hospitality. Nice to see you. It's a good school too. These guys, fancy guys. How we do. So who's the best guy in track and field? All of them. That's good. What's that next show? This one? Oh, I like that. Right behind. All right, here you go, guys.
There you go. I was I didn't know what was going on. I looked over and I was laughing.
You guys are doing well this year. Texas A&M is doing well. Great athlete. That's a great school too. How are you? Good. Congratulations. Thank you. How's the team doing for next year? How's it looking? Good? Always good. Always good. That school's always good at sport. Two-time national. Really? Already, huh?
Yep.
There's a jersey for you. Can I make your team, do you think? Yeah.
We'll find a spot for you.
You know what?
I'll take them down. They're from my state. It's my state.
You know what? He's working on tax cuts. That's all that matters. Hold on.
This is from the right state. This is the good state. The Ohio State Buckeyes.
So follow Gary. He'll come back.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Val. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. pretty impressive. How do you do against them? I say they beat you. My money's on them.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Trying to hold it.
If you watch, I want to make it perfect. There you go.
Awesome, thank you.
Everybody want to see the
Absolutely. Thank you.
I wanted to see you play that.
Your instincts are right. They're out.
They're better, right?
They're more athletic, smarter.
I was just letting the people out of her shot. Thank you for hosting us today. Thank you.
Take a couple more just to make sure. Have you ever practiced? Yeah, pretty well. Pretty tough, right? Were they dominant? Were they
Yes.
Next year,
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Follow them. They'll take it.
Great, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
No one has it. It's too tough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So great. Thank you.
A lot of great athletes.
All right, guys. So President Trump calling out what he says are great athletes. 18 NCAA teams visited the White House for their champion teams and just being awarded sports achievement awards for greatness, including Penn State's women's rugby team. We saw like University of Washington's rowing team and a few other notable women's teams, which is pretty exciting. So kind of fun to watch that. We're going to go back over to the opening ceremonies from the Museum of the Bible in case you came on the stream for that this morning. We played out just a small chunk of that live this morning. And we're going to play the rest of it because it was sort of in progress when we took it. So we'll start that from the beginning. It's kind of a cool ceremony down in Southwest DC. So we'll check it out.
Good work. And I remember waiting to exhale. I was waiting to dip. That's what we do in my tradition. We call it the watery grave of baptism, to dip in the watery grave of baptism. And when it happened, I knew that in spite of my ineptitude, this book was a weapon that would enable me to live on the cutting edge. In Alabama, they used to end every television, at the end when the TV would go off, they would quote High Flight. And I used to think when they would quote High Flight of 1 Thessalonians 4:16, and the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and the trump of God. And I always imagined that as the day when I will meet the Word made flesh. Jesus of Nazareth said in John 5:39, search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and these are they that testify of me. And so one day I will slip the surly bonds of earth and dance the skies on laughter's silvered wings. Sunward I'll climb and join the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and do 100 things we have not dreamed of, wheel and soar high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I'll chase the shouting winds along and fling through the uptake, this corruptible, putting on immortality through footless halls of air, up along delirious burning blue. We will top the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark or eagle, even eagle, flew. And what a day it will be when on a sea of glass we will be beyond the ionosphere and can say with the poet, we will be able to put out our hands and touch the face of God. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome entrepreneur, author, innovator, and a lifelong student of the Word, the president of Museum of the Bible, Cary Summers.
Now I have to follow Barry Black. I told him several months ago I would never do that again, and here I am. Hey, thank you for being here this morning. It's today the museum takes its place among one of the newest and the brightest stars in the galaxy in the museum world, and we're incredibly fortunate that it's here in Washington, D.C. I've made this statement several times that the cooperation that was received in Washington, D.C. among not only the various committees and agencies that function within the district, but also the federal committees that we had to work through, is one of the most enjoyable experiences we've had. It's amazing cooperation. Sometimes Washington, D.C. does not get that accolade as they should, but I can testify that for us, it was just fantastic. So, news media, print that, if you would. You know, we're in this moment right now of dedication, and, it's sometimes nice to stay in the moment, but it's, just for a second, it gives us a chance to reflect back on the long journey it's taken to get here, the challenges and the boundaries that we've pushed with this museum, create new partnerships, and to build a museum that is unlike any others in the world. In fact, one news article said that it may have redefined museums in the future. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but certainly I think there's things that we've done that other museums can benefit from, and we'd be more than happy to share that with others. We also take a moment to thank the people who put this together. We had an amazing construction company and Clark Construction and Smith Group and our architect firm and the many, many, many other contractors that it took to assemble all of this. As we said last night, we said elsewhere that 5,000 people touched this job, and that was from people who poured the concrete to the people who are still here holding all the duct tape together as we talk. But it also deals with skilled artisans and all the people outside. That was another 3,000 people. So in total, 8,000 people have touched this. And I also like to thank that, and to all of you, many of you have offered your financial support to make this possible, and the legions who have offered their prayers and invested their hope and in the belief in this day. Many, I know one church in particular, when this property was purchased, started walking around, praying around this property every month, and still today. That's an amazing commitment. And there's many of you who have similar commitments in other areas dealing with this museum. We're standing on the side of what was a old refrigerated warehouse. For some of you who don't know the history, it was built in 1923. It was the first ice house in Washington, D.C. And we've transformed this building into what you see it today. And in the years leading up to this moment, we've been asked many times, why did you undertake this challenge? And why did you undertake this building? If you notice outside, it has 9 different kinds of bricks. It's a historical building. And we wrestled with the fact that should we take all the brick down and start over, which really was impossible with the preservation rules that deal with the building, but maybe we could take a few down. And then we started that and looking, and we finally said, you know what? This is who we are. Look at it. It's been here 100 years. It's composed of different color bricks from all eras. And today it's is as strong as it ever was 100 years ago. And I thought, wow, what a tribute to the Bible on what we're trying to do here. We have all these different faith traditions that have been involved with us. And we hope this building will have that kind of impact for generations to come, just like the old brick building itself did for so many years. And so when people ask, why now? And what's your objective with this? And it's rather simple. We created this museum to help our guests understand and appreciate the role of the Bible, not only in America, but globally. And that's it, is to engage people in that Bible so they too can enjoy and understand better what this amazing book has done. We have no other agenda. I truly believe that the visiting this museum will be an experience for no matter who you are, no matter what age you are, and no matter what faith background you are. It'll be an immersive, educational, exciting experience. And the use of our cutting-edge technology and that we think will have the years span the time for many, many years on what you see today, and the space that we put it in will continue to impact people's lives way beyond our own lives. Today, we're not only opening this museum, but it's our hope that we're opening the hearts and the minds and the visitors to learn the story, the greatest story ever told, the story of the Bible, through the contributions of more than 100 academic in archaeology and theology and cultural scholars, and from all different faiths. This museum is your museum. Somebody says it's, what are you going to do with your museum? It's not our museum, it's your museum. And we want each of you to take advantage of that. The worst thing to do is to build a museum and nobody comes. So tell your friends about it. And we built it in a way that hopefully it's something that you just feel good in, that you walk around and just, wow, this feels good. And that's what we want it to be. We want it to be a place that people can sit in that coffee shop, go up to our restaurant, pop into one of the exhibits, and walk away and just feel good. That's what the Bible is all about. Thank you.
Museum of the Bible is taking its place among the great monuments and museums of Washington, D.C. People come from all corners of the globe to experience the richness of history and culture the city offers. It is the right place for this museum to be, and the museum is fortunate to have been able to work with a gracious and helpful host. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am delighted to be here to welcome you and to congratulate everyone involved on the opening of the Museum of the Bible. I bring greetings from the 680,000 Washingtonians who will also be able to enjoy this magnificent building and museum. I was struck by what the chaplain said a little bit earlier. He said that he thought that this museum was God's gift to him. And what I thought as he was speaking is that the Word of God and everyone who can express it and bring those words alive, like the chaplain did so well, is God's gift to all of us. So let me again just say how much it is appropriate that in the nation's capital, where we have soaring museums and monuments, and where people visit us from around the world, that the Museum of the Bible would be built here. We are experiencing in our city fantastic growth. And part of that growth is international and domestic visitation that goes up and up and up each and every year. I have been able to go to cities around the world and talk about all of the new destinations and offerings in Washington, D.C. And I look forward to being able to talk about the Museum of the Bible as well. Visitors to our city come from all walks of life, all faith traditions, in every place in the world. And for them to be able to experience the wonderful journey through the Bible is just a wonderful addition to the landscape of Washington, D.C. Let me congratulate Tony Zeiss and thank you, Cary, for that wonderful endorsement of working with local government. We appreciate it. And we want to send the word out to everyone that businesses come to Washington, D.C. We get things done in Washington, D.C., working hand in hand with all of our friends in the private and philanthropic communities. Once again, congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have with us this morning the Israeli ambassador to the United States, the Honorable Ron Dermer. Ambassador Dermer has been a steadfast champion and partner of Museum of the Bible. Please welcome Ambassador Ron Dermer.
ודוד מחרקר בכל עוז לפני אדוני, ודוד וכל בית ישראל מעלים את ארון אדוני בתרועה ובקול שופר. And David danced with all his might before the Lord. And David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouts of joy and with the sound of the shofar. Ladies and gentlemen, 3,000 years ago, King David celebrated as the Holy Ark, which contained the Ten Commandments, was carried into Jerusalem. A few centuries earlier, Joshua had led the children of Israel across the Jordan and fought and won battles throughout our promised land. But it would be left to David to conquer Jerusalem. He hoped to make Jerusalem, situated between north and south, a capital that could unite the 12 tribes. But David knew that Jerusalem could not serve as the national and spiritual center of the nation without the Bible at its core. So he brought the ark into Jerusalem and he rejoiced before it. He placed it at the top of Mount Moriah, where Abraham's hand had been stayed from sacrificing Isaac, and where the two temples would later stand for nearly 1,000 years. When those temples stood, the Jewish people made a pilgrimage to Jerusalem 3 times a year to celebrate our holidays, to worship God, and to hear the Bible read. And they left the city with renewed commitment to the values our people have always held sacred and to the moral life that demands. Today, nearly 2.5 centuries after America's founding, we are gathered to celebrate the arrival of the Bible in your capital. I do not know if anyone here will be dancing or blowing a shofar, but someone should. Because just as the Bible has always been the most prized possession of the Jewish people, the Bible has always been cherished by the American people. The towering figures that are memorialized with monuments in this great city surely testify to that. President Washington proclaimed that it was the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, and reportedly said that it is impossible to rightly govern the world without God and the Bible. Jefferson said that the Bible is the source of liberty, and that its study would make men better citizens, better fathers, and better husbands. Lincoln called the Bible the best gift God had given man, and advised to take as much of that great book upon reason that you can, and the balance by faith, so that you will live and die a better man. And in the greatest speech ever given in this city, a modern-day prophet quoted an ancient one, when Dr. King said that his sacred struggle would not end until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. But this nation has honored the Bible with more than the words of its greatest leaders. It has honored it through its most sacred values and its highest ideals. As a son of America, I know that the idea that all are created equal, that this is a nation of laws and not men, and that you welcome in the tired, poor, and huddled masses yearning to be free. That is the very essence of America. But those ideas, inscribed in your founding documents and etched on your iconic statues, are not merely the values of America. They are the values of the Bible. Is there a more fundamental expression of equality than the biblical verse that all are created in the image of God? Is there a more powerful example that no man is above the law than the prophet Nathan's rebuke of King David? Is there a more profound conception of social justice than the simple biblical commandments to care for the widow and the orphan, the poor and the stranger? Ladies and gentlemen, it was those values that King David was celebrating when he danced 3,000 years ago. It was those values that preserved my people in our long march through a dark exile. And it was those values that gave us the strength to turn tragedy into triumph, restore our sovereignty, and rebuild Jerusalem, the original D.C., David's capital. So let us all rejoice in the Bible that has now come to the heart of your D.C. True, it is housed in a museum and not a temple, but here too, people will come from across your country and across the world to celebrate holidays, to worship God, and to discover and rediscover the Bible. And they may leave here with a renewed commitment to its values and to the moral life that it demands. May the Bible continue to protect and guide America as it has protected and guided Israel. May it unite your people as much as it has united mine. And may it give this nation the strength to continue to lead the world for generations and generations to come.
It is our privilege to introduce Israeli Minister of Tourism, Yariv Levin, who brings a message of friendship and community from Prime Minister Netanyahu to commemorate the museum's opening and the opening of the Israeli Antiquities Authority Artifacts exhibit. Please welcome Minister Levin.
Good morning. Really, what a day. Congratulations. It is a great honor to attend the dedication of the Museum of the Bible, which will display so much of the richness of the Bible, its religious, cultural, and archaeological significance. The government of Israel is proud to partner with the museum in this very important initiative by opening here the first and only permanent exhibition of the Israeli Antiquity Authority outside the State of Israel. I consider visiting the museum as an important part of a full experience that I hope will conclude with a visit to Israel, the place where it all actually happened. There is no doubt that visiting the museum and enriching the knowledge about the Book of Books adds significance to each who visits the land of the Bible. I am privileged to convey to you a special message from our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, for this very, very special moment. Dear friends, I send warm greetings from Jerusalem, the eternal and undivided capital of the Jewish people and the State of Israel, as you gather to cut the ribbon for the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. The Jewish people are known as the people of the book because of the centrality of the Hebrew Bible in our faith, our history, and our lives. Our roots in the land of Israel, as described in the Holy Scriptures, stretch back nearly 4,000 years. But it was only 70 years ago, after millennia of exile, that we were finally able to reconstitute our national home at the Holy Land. The Hebrew spoken on the streets of Israel today is still recognizably by the same ancient language of the Torah, having been revived along with the birth of the modern Zionist movement. This impressive building and the fascinating and educational exhibits it contains is a fitting home for the thousands of religious texts and artifacts in your remarkable collection. By featuring Jewish, Protestant, Catholic, and other faith traditions, the museum highlights our shared values and beliefs, as well as the history and development of the Judeo-Christian culture over the centuries. I wish you great success. Sincerely, Benjamin Netanyahu, Jerusalem, Israel.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome businessman, author, philanthropist, and educator, Steve Green, the co-founder with his wife Jackie of Museum of the Bible and our visionary chairman of the board and president of the Hobby Lobby. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Green.
Thank you. Take a deep breath. This is a journey that has been running fast for 7 years, and we want to just take a moment and stop and celebrate and rejoice of this dream that's coming true. This is not just my dream or our family's dream. This is a dream of thousands of our employees, workers, over 50,000 donors. This is a dream of millions all over the world that love this book, that use it as a guide for their life. And we just want to take some time and celebrate and dedicate this space to our God. Over the next many months and years, we would anticipate millions of people coming through this facility, celebrating, being inspired to learn more about this book and to know it better. You know, if we were to take some time and have
time with each one in this room, if you were able to spend some time with each one in this room just to discuss your thoughts and beliefs on this book, you eventually would find differences with everyone in this room. Because none of us have this book figured out. We are all on a journey. We will never fully delve the depths of this book. That's an amazing part of this book. But we want to take a moment to set our differences aside and say, here's a book that has changed our world, that has impacted lives, and we want to celebrate it in this facility here today. So we are honored to have you to be a part of being a part of this phenomenal building that points people to a book that has had such an impact on our world that it is hard to describe, it's hard to fully grasp. There are people walking the street that have no idea to the degree that this book has impacted their life, and yet it has. And hopefully they will come and they will see that. And they will know that it has had a positive impact on their life in so many different ways. And when they leave, hopefully they will be inspired to open it, to engage with it, and to get to know it better. Let me ask you a question. Have you read your Bible today? I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't encourage you to engage with this book yourself. You can download it free. If you have a smartphone, put it on your smartphone. Pick a Bible app. Pick a reading plan. Pick a language. Engage with this book. Let it have an impact in your life, as it has my life, our family's life, and so many people all over the world. Because that's ultimately what we want to do, is we just want to encourage and inspire and engage and hopefully motivate people to engage with this book, to let it have an impact on their life. Now, it's my understanding that I am the only thing standing between you and more of the beautiful voice of C.C. Winan. So I'm going to take care of that. God bless you.
And I'm godly proud of the Greens family and everyone who's been a part of bringing this magnificent vision to reality. My prayer is that when people hear about this museum and when people get a chance to experience it, they would fall in love with our Heavenly Father. This song is a prayer called Let Them Fall in Love. They can't see, how will they turn? If they can't hear, how will they learn? Touch their eyes, bless their lives. Hear this prayer, hear my cry. Father, Hey guys, if you are just joining us on the stream, welcome and happy Friday. We're playing back right now the opening ceremonies for the Museum of the Bible, which opens today in Lower Southwest DC. It's on the corner of 4th and D Southwest, so right there in between the monuments on the National Mall. And we weren't able to see this performance earlier. I didn't play it out, so just playing it out again for you guys.
to check into it. Some nice speeches there. We heard from the mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser, and other leaders as well, and the founder of the museum himself speaking to this crowd who got to enjoy the opening ceremonies this morning. So that museum opens officially tomorrow, and it's open for the weekend, and timed tickets are available online. It's going to be exciting to see who checks into that one, the brand new museum on the mall in DC. So we're going to play this out a little more, guys, and then come back in to the newsroom and chat a little more social media and some other trending topics for the remainder of our show.
Like when you get nicks and cuts or something on the bottom of your shoe, that'll make that shoe identifiable.
Okay. Now, with A, which is 28 in evidence. I assume you've seen a few pairs of shoes in your lifetime?
Yes.
How would you describe these as far as new or old on the scale?
I noted in my notes that these have very little wear on the bottoms of the shoes.
And so you were describing how you take them and then put them on clear acetate?
Yes.
Do you recognize CV and CW for identification?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize them as?
These are the overlays that I created using those shoes.
Once you've created that overlay, how do you go about comparing them to the unknown lists that were in that bag we've been talking about as well?
I can superimpose the acetates onto any of the notes, in this case, the latent lift cards.
You may.
Do you recognize CT and CU?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize them as?
These are two of the photographs that I created in the lab using two of the latent lifts that were submitted.
And do you know which hue or number of the unknown lifts was that assigned to?
Yes.
What one?
This one is Q21-4, and this one is Q21-6.
And would it aid you in your testimony to stand down and demonstrate exactly how you do this?
Yes.
And would you stand down?
You may.
Actually, may I move those four into evidence first? CW, CV, ET, and CU?
No objection.
They will be admitted as the state's next numbered exhibits.
85, 86, 87, and you had mentioned you make digital images of all the shoes and all the unknowns?
Yes, any photographs that I take in the lab are put on a CD and then submitted back to the agency.
Showing you BI for identification, you recognize that?
Yes.
What do you recognize it as?
This is the DVD that I created using, or with all the images that I created.
BI for identification methods as well.
You may.
And if you need to remove the tag temporarily from the clear thing, feel free to. Just let's not mix them up. All right, can you demonstrate how you take the clear acetate overlay and place it over a digital image that you create? Now, how do you make the digital printouts so that they're to the exact size of the lifts that are on the tape in the paper? Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys, and admittedly, this trial that is ongoing is a little bit dry, a little bit slow. I'm really, really trying to find some interesting stuff to bring to you on this Friday, November 17th. But now I got T in the hot seat, so we can chat a little more about what's going on socially and sports-wise. So we'll pull on out of this Orlando trial. This is a trial for Stephen Duxbury, accused of killing a 27-year-old in this apartment complex where he was the security guard. And that's coming in live from Orlando. So I wanted to just jump down there for a second. But now that we got T,
I'm sorry, Orlando.
what's going on?
Yeah,
You're reading into WhatsApp. He's actually enthralled by it, but I was like, I don't know, it's a little slow.
It's a crazy story.
Really interesting this morning, our reporter anchor Annie was out in the field and she met Lady Gaga's mom. And
Wow.
Lady Gaga and her mom are part of this organization that promotes being kind and kindness to others. And she chatted with her a little bit about that. I know that our social media team is writing a piece for our website on this, and I wanted to kind of show you that interview. It might be kind of cool to watch her chat with her from this morning. But you were...
I saw some news about Lady Gaga actually recently
Oh.
collaborating with somebody for a good cause.
Okay, that might have been part of her organization. I know. I was reading into it because Annie was tweeting or Instagramming about it.
What do you know what the
Yeah,
organization
it's called
is?
Btw Foundation, which stands for Born This Way Foundation. Their motto is, in order to heal, you have to feel. And together, her mother and herself, they are committed to empowering the youth to recognize kindness.
Wow.
Cool, right?
Congrats to them, because
Yeah.
that's big.
I know that Lady Gaga has sort of promoted that in a lot of her writing and her songs. And I had no idea her mom was around.
Lady Gaga and Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden.
They were in the they're collaborating.
Yes, they're actually collaborating together on. Yes, they're creating abuse trauma centers. They're basically teaming up to help sexual assault survivors.
Oh, okay. Wow, nice find.
Yeah, I saw that in the news a couple days ago. But that's awesome that our own and you got to see
She spoke
Mama
with
Gaga.
her mom, and it was cool. Yeah, it was on our morning show, so we can play that in a second. But you got your Wizards shirt on.
Wizards play the Heat today.
Oh, great.
At Capital One Center. Yeah. The Heat are okay, but Wizards are definitely one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference.
So much sports going on. Last night, Steelers and Titans in NFL.
Steelers and Titans.
Thursday night football. I saw the first quarter and then went to do something else, and then later I checked in. It was a blowout.
At the NFL, I'm actually beefing with the NFL currently because of what they've done to my boy Zeke Elliott with the 6-game suspension and all. So he finally stopped trying to appeal it, and he just said...
I saw that.
He's just
So
like,
now
whatever,
he's-
just
so
give me
he-
6
they won't
days.
play him. The Cowboys won't.
He did that because, so they said that... So when they said that he's suspended, they said for 6 regular season games.
Right.
And afterwards, they're like, no, playoff games count too. So if he kept appealing it, there could be some games where he would play, but then it's potential that he would have missed some playoff games. If, Cowboys even make it to playoffs, which we're not even looking like that.
Right.
But, yeah, it's crazy because I wonder if they count preseason games too. Why don't they suspend him for preseason games if you can do playoff games? Roger Goodell is wilding out here. Jerry Jones is here also talking about his contract extension. Of course, nobody really wants Roger Goodell to keep going because he's done a horrible job as commissioner, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's the whole...
And then also remember the link that I sent you about, what was it? Remember the one?
I'm going to get this. What was it about again?
It was one of the... Hold on, let me find it real fast.
Okay. While he's talking about that, let's talk really quickly about this, guys. Stovetop stuffing dinner pants are a thing. And this is in the news, guys. They're selling these for Thanksgiving. Obviously,
dinner pants.
There's a reason for them. They have a stretchable area where they stretch so that you can just sit in these pants and eat Thanksgiving dinner. Do you think that you would do this, Steve? Would you adopt these? They're put on by Stovetop. Stovetop is donating $10,000 to a charity as part of, I think, the sales of these. They're $19.98 a piece. Dollars.
Ooh.
$19.
That's not bad. If it's going to a good cause, it's worth it.
Right.
Me personally, I think I can see myself wearing these Thanksgiving, but my whole family look at me like, who's this kid?
Like, everybody has a different thing they do, right? Some people actually dress up for Thanksgiving. Some people roll out of bed in the late afternoon. Some people wear matching stovetop stuffing
Oh,
stretchy
you know,
pants.
I could get that to my mom, and she'll
Mhm.
probably start preparing Thanksgiving meal in that.
What?
And then change for dinner.
Oh,
While
she's
she's
preparing
cooking,
in
yeah.
it.
While she's
Yeah.
cooking, she can cook with the stovetop.
Isn't that funny? The stock models they used. The kid, the boy.
Yeah, they got every all bases covered. You got the elder, the senior citizen,
The
child,
middle-aged mom.
Middle-aged mom. Oh, yes, and
The child and the grandma.
and the grandma and the dad or uncle even. Yeah, they got everything here.
It's so funny the stuff that becomes like socially viral during holidays and like.
Oh yeah, remember last
Oh my
year
gosh.
with Shirley Caesar. I got beans,
What was that?
beans, tomatoes, potatoes.
Oh, I don't remember that. Was that a commercial?
Man, that was like the best thing
Oh my
to come
gosh.
out of Thanksgiving last year.
So the pants guys are, because I'm reading through it now, they're comfortable, they're loose, and they're stretched, obviously. They go over your stomach. And Stovetop says family and friends will be envious of your level of comfort at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And they're unisex, so you can wear them no matter what.
Wow. Yes.
$10,000 goes to Feeding America.
And I love stovetop stuffing. That's like one of the main dishes in the Thanksgiving table, you know?
Let's get another picture here of these pants. Oh my gosh. They're laughing.
Like the waist area looks like, you know, like pineapple.
You can't quite tell, but it's really stuffing, I think.
Yeah, okay. I wonder if it's soft like how stuffing is.
People are happy. Look at, they're so happy. Yes, we had a little bit of a feast this morning because Whole Foods came to our morning show and we were digging into some Thanksgiving food, which was yummy.
Had some Thanksgiving turkey
Yeah, really,
again.
really interesting stuff like purple rainbow carrots with a sauerkraut dressing underneath that was vegan, Brussels sprouts, green beans, mashed potatoes, all the different stuffings.
Vegan pumpkin pie. They
Vegan
had the
pie,
pecan
vegan
chocolate
stuffing.
pie. That was
I'm just
amazing.
rattling off all this Thanksgiving food now. And I will say I've had now a couple full, everything included Thanksgiving meals that I think I'm good. I think I'm good for next Thursday. Like I don't think I need it.
Mm-hmm.
Redskins play next Thursday too, so.
Redskins, so do the Cowboys. They play every Thanksgiving.
That's everything, right?
Yeah, we play San Diego Chargers.
Okay.
This Sunday we play the Eagles at Dallas. It's gonna
And
be
this
tough.
Sunday, Redskins and Saints.
Redskins and Saints. Yeah, that's going to be a crazy game because the Saints are really good this season. Unexpectedly, their record is pretty good. They're at the top of their division, I believe. And yeah, so we're going to see if Kirk Cousins can bring it home. Tonight, the Wizards are playing the Heat. John Wall, Bradley Beal. Yeah, that's the squad for our basketball team.
Cool.
That's going to be an exciting
I'm
game.
looking forward. I want to go to some Wizards games this year. We're talking about maybe trying to go to one in December.
Yeah,
so we'll see if that happens. Another interesting thing with Kirk Cousins in the news. I saw this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was speaking out against a sweater or sweatshirt that was made in honor of him that combined Christmas with his name, and it said Merry Kirkmas.
Oh.
So it's supposed to be a play on his name, but he actually spoke out against it, saying that he thought Christ's name should not have been taken out of that. The seriousness of what Christmas means and what it stands for.
Kirk Cousins is a devoted Christian, yes.
Yeah, I forgot that, and I think I knew it, but it was sparked again when I saw this story.
Yeah, I think he has very religious people in his family. I think his dad could be a preacher.
Okay, maybe.
I could be wrong, but
yeah, I remember when he first came on the scene, that was a big outspoken thing for him. If you guys are just jumping on the stream or you're new to the stream, welcome to our daily, weekday, Inside the Newsroom digital desk news show. And we kind of include a little bit of everything: chatter, social media, videos, viral stuff, arts, sports, news coming at you. And I played out a bunch of stuff from this morning. I think the biggest thing was we had some video of President Trump meeting the NCAA women's teams that were being honored at the White House. It was like Penn State rugby girls, UW rowing girls from Washington.
That's cool.
And a bunch of them, he went around to them and met them, which was kind of cool. I saw that South Carolina, one of the teams from South Carolina women boycotted going. So that was kind of a part of the news story. But that, and then the Museum of the Bible, which opened, and some other little stories.
In tech news, I think today or yesterday, Elon Musk he revealed his new Tesla. The Tesla.
I gotta get this.
I'm not sure what the model name is, but it goes 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
He is so fabulous. It is let me find it. it's a supercar or roadster.
Nope, it looked like a roadster.
Let me
There was
find it.
actually a video on YouTube with somebody in the passenger seat, and you can actually see it go 0 to 60 while in the car.
Really? So we found it on YouTube?
It was on Reddit. I found it on
Oh, you found it on Reddit?
Yeah.
I want to see it go. We can go 0 to 60 in how many seconds?
2. So at 1.9 seconds, under 2 seconds. It's crazy.
So this morning, Steve Genevieve was like, Tesla supercar. You say that, and it could go from 0 to 60 in that chunk.
When you say
Tesla,
Tesla supercar, that took
1,
2 seconds.
2. That's wow. I find that really cool.
Yeah.
Does anybody else love Tesla and just find so fascinated by Elon Musk? Anybody else? Besides
SpaceX,
me?
all of that. Yeah, I know you're a big
I'm Elon Musk fan.
Elon Musk, if you're watching this, your biggest
Know
fan
that I'm-
is in the building.
Yeah, let
Come
me
through,
meet you
come
someday.
through. Shout out to you. You gotta
But wait,
come through.
I'm trying to find this picture of it. Okay, the 2020 Tesla Roadster. Here we go. Let's get
Is that
Fox
what it's
News.
called?
Oh my God, there it is.
I can't believe it's
Check it out, guys. Speed Machine, $200,000. Wait, there it is.
and it looks beautiful too. Yeah.
It's really pretty. Not that all the other models aren't just as chic and sleek and amazing.
I also like the Model X.
I do too.
The SUV one with the doors come up.
I do too.
It's sick. It's really awesome.
Guys, this is the 2020 Tesla Roadster. It is an electrifying $200,000 speed machine. It can go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds in the time it takes to say Tesla
200,000
supercar.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow.
I'm so excited about it.
Is it
It's
all-
really cool to see what he's working on.
Do you know if it's all electric or a hybrid or does he
I
have
gotta read into it a
rockets?
little bit more.
SpaceX rocket boosters.
It
on
was it's the first time I tried. It was unveiled last night, and it's gonna be a quote: deliver a hardcore smackdown to gasoline-powered cars. I would assume that he says that
Wow.
about a lot of things.
That's great. And I also heard that by a bunch of states have supported cutting all coal production by the year 2030.
Oh.
So a handful of states
Yeah.
have already started with the, going greener. It's better for the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. More stats about this one, guys. It can accelerate, like we said, in 2 seconds. Elon Musk said the top speed is going to be 250 miles an hour or above that,
Crazy.
making it one of the fastest street legal cars ever. Adding that all the specs were based on prototypes for the base model, suggesting that there will be better numbers to even come out of that.
It can go on a charge an unprecedented 620 miles.
On one full charge for electric charge?
With the 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. That
Yeah,
is
Iran, you're commenting that it's all
crazy.
electric. So cool, right? You see those stations where you have to plug it in.
200 kilo, yeah, that's wild. That's
The
massive.
the pack itself weighs over a ton, but they're trying to develop a lighter one, more energy dense battery. Yeah, it's very sleek.
And it's so stylish too. It's like, it almost reminds me of the Acura NSX a little bit, just like the shape.
All right, a little
That's also
stipulation.
happened,
Yeah,
too.
kind of. A little stipulation. Again, this is going to debut in 2020. It starts at $200,000. A $50,000 deposit is required to reserve one. But if you want to get to the front of the line, you give all $250,000 for one of the first, to be one of the first of the 1,000 of them.
That's crazy. It's,
That are made.
It's almost
That are
like,
produced.
and this is American made, right?
Yeah.
So I know. So my friend, he just got like a M3 BMW. So he basically put a down payment on it. This is a almost $100,000 car, by the way, maybe more.
Mhm.
He had to put the down payment, but basically they give you the tour. You have to go they give you the whole package comes with a tour in the factory where they build it in Germany.
Okay.
And then you get to see your car in the assembly line getting built. And then you have to wait again. You come back to the States, you wait for it to be shipped. And then
Okay.
you pick it up from the dealership after a
So
certain amount of time.
it's a lot of steps because it's outside of where we are.
Not because outside, just because it's an expensive and very rare car. I think that's what they're going to do with the Tesla. I guess you have to...
Make it, there's less of them, less supply. Hey, Risa.
Hey, Rice.
Yay, our social media, you guys know.
Yeah,
We're
it's-
talking Tesla because it was a hot story this morning. And then I queued up Annie's interview with Gaga's mom.
Just wrapped up the story.
Risa just wrote the story, and I was teasing that out that she was over there writing it. And so I do want to play out that interview and chat a little more about it with you.
Let's do it.
But finishing up the Tesla stuff, I'm just wowed by like anything Elon Musk, guys.
Elon Musk. Come
Swoon.
Wait, so how much is this car going?
$200,000, or rather,
Dang.
200,000 if you want to be one of the first to get one of the first 1,000 actual physical cars. You want to pony up the 250,000 because the down payment is 50,000. So you can either give a down payment of 50 and then later do your whole 200,000, or if you want to be one of them to get it all, pony up all that money. Wow. 2020 it drops.
Or just buy a house with $200,000.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
Which one? Or you could
Or
live in the
education.
Tesla.
Something.
I know.
There you go.
Iran says he has a charging station down the road from his house. That's pretty cool.
Iran, you
I've
getting
seen
a
him.
Tesla, man? Let me know.
Let us
I need
know.
a ride. Come pick me up right now.
Oh my
Guys, I'm obsessed. And let me tell you this quick story.
Yeah.
My favorite, okay, I'm just like so overwhelmed. A monumental moment for me in DC was the first Uber ride I ever had that was a Tesla. Wow. It was an Uber X. It wasn't even Uber Solo. It wasn't Uber Black Car. It was a basic X, and I was like, oh, it's like, look for your Tesla around the corner. Here's your driver. This was years ago, maybe 2014. Uber was probably a year plus in DC. It was like a normal thing, probably a couple years in even. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh. So I went in it, got my ride home. I remember I had him open the sunroof, like this weird opening, and I waved out to my friends. And I was like, I really fell in love with it from there. Not to mention the driver was really cool. His music was awesome. Like, it was just an amazing experience. And from then on, I was really interested in this. I know. I was wondering that too. I really should have asked him.
Tesla cars are nice. The inside is like a huge like
They're
iPad.
so sleek and gorgeous. I'm really into them.
I do have a con about Teslas though. They're very quiet.
But why is that common for you? You
Because
don't like that?
I like the room. I need
Got
the
it.
engine, you know.
So I think part of their appeal to some people is that they're quiet. But
yeah.
I like that.
Some
Perfect
people like
getaway
quiet.
car.
Just but
Getaway.
You know,
Getaway car.
I feel like it becomes a hazard because sometimes when you're walking, crossing on the crosswalk,
Getting the picture up.
you can't really hear a car if you're just,
See, I see your point.
This is true too, but
Here's the sleek.
But it's a Tesla. I mean,
Are
it's
you
gonna
the
catch
guy
your
that
eye
walks
regardless.
across the street with your head down, looking at your phone.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Sometimes.
See.
Depends what part of DC I am and what time, you know.
This is true.
These guys. I mean, that's a cool kind of. I guess it's sort of a graphic. So they kind of edited this shot, but it's what purportedly what it might look like. Again, not coming out till 2020. Sleek, gorgeous. Goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Notice Rice is all bundled up.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
like
guys, it's freezing
cold in the
down
newsroom.
here. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm so cold. I think our senior digital producer said I'm out of Game of Thrones. He's like, what is this?
You are.
Jon Snow. I'm a wildling right now.
There you go.
Just throw that on. Throw on GOT.
GOT.
Guys. TV. I'm behind on Stranger Things and everything.
Oh man,
Still
I kinda
behind.
gave her like a little spoiler today, and you were like,
You
Wait,
did.
huh?
I'm just not gonna think about it. Yeah. TV. Well, that's good. That's what's popping in sports with T at Terrence.
Sports and tech. Yeah.
Sports and tech.
Couple of good topics. Iran saying wish you could afford a Tesla. Yeah. Same here.
Same here, bro.
I will always be a
I
fan.
would get the white one. I love the white and black both. Oh, it's so nice.
I like the white too. I also like the black. Yeah, I like both.
I like white with like black wheels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black wheels, black windows.
I don't know. I want.
I also like black on black on black.
I like just black,
I have a
normal,
black car
no
now.
tinted.
We both have black cars in the same car.
Oh, you do?
It's such a pain.
It's I think the black on black gives it the
super sleek.
Batmobile vibe.
There you go.
know?
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love me some
Exactly.
Batman.
The Dark Knight.
And you can hear our cars.
Exactly.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
you know.
All
Now
right.
we're coming down.
On that note, I want to jump over and talk more about Gaga. So we're going to play out the interview that Annie you had with Lady Gaga's mom.
What a gorgeous picture you have of her. Let me just say.
Where?
Yeah, that'd be good. I wish people could see.
I'll
Or
put it
they're
up.
about to see it.
Annie right here. We're going to play this out. Isn't she beautiful?
Look at Annie.
Look
We
at
love
that
her.
highlight on her nose.
I
Yeah,
know, she looks
Annie.
great.
She's so awesome.
She looks so great. So she got to talk to her mom, who also looks amazing. This is a really cool interview. And I remember following Lady Gaga since she kind of broke out. Stephanie Germanotta is her name, Italian girl. She's exactly my age. I followed like her background and how she started singing in these open mic nights while she went to NYU and sort of her whole saga.
I love Lady Gaga's story because actually Akon is the one who signed her under him.
Originally.
Yeah, originally, yes, under the Convict Music label. That's like, I don't know if you guys know who Akon is.
Yeah.
But he had a bunch of hits.
Yeah, I did.
He's
I
also
knew
the
him
one
in
who
college.
created T-Pain's legacy
Right.
as well.
Because they did a couple songs together too.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Had a few bangers there.
The song I love with Akon and Lady Gaga is what's that song called? Just Dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that was him in the bridge or whatever. He raps in it. Yeah.
But that's basically her boss. That's her higher up.
That's so cool. I forgot that was how she.
People don't really know that.
Yeah, I don't think I did
Lady
until you told me
Gaga
again.
is Under Akon.
It's cool to see how she
Akon's rich.
became such a star and then is using it for good by promoting this Born This Way Foundation campaign for kindness. So we're going to hear more about that in this interview that Annie did this morning. It's just a few minutes long, so we'll check it out right here and then we'll come back in to chat about it.
Hey, good morning, Mo. Good morning, everybody. This is amazing. Standing next to Cynthia Germanata, of course, Lady Gaga's mother. Hello, beautiful. I would say welcome to DC, but this is like home to you. You went to graduate school here, didn't you?
I did. I went to GW, so it's great to be back.
Yes, and I was saying, you know, in true Lady Gaga fashion, she's bringing her empowerment, her class, you know, really emphasis on lady to DC, and she's partnering up, or you are as well, with the Chamber of Commerce for a very special, powerful message. Tell us all about it.
Yes, thank you. We are here with Chamber of Commerce at a conference called the Business of Kindness, which is sponsored by Deloitte, and we are fostering kindness in the workplace. We have focused on kindness for so many years with young people. They're growing up. They're entering the workforce, and it's an important message to take there as well.
And that was really a message that Lady Gaga wanted to send out from day one, isn't it?
It is. She had a lot of struggles growing up as a young person that affected her very deeply. She ended up developing anxiety and depression as a result because of meanness and cruelty in her life. So this is something she's been passionate about for a very long time.
And she's been pretty open about talking about some of those struggles, and Born This Way obviously is promoting more people to talk about it, whether it's a good or bad thing. I mean, talking about it certainly helps, right? So Born This Way, you've been able to reach out to young lives, help people, victims. Tell us more about some of the things that you've been able to do.
Yes, so she talked about this from the beginning, and it started to resonate with her fans, and we realized that so many of them had similar issues. So over the years, we focused on creating safe spaces for young people to have positive environments. We focus on reducing the stigma around mental health and generally making kindness cool. We've also introduced some very interesting programs. We're here on tour. We travel on tour with her and create community events, pop-up events. We're visiting with Martha's Table here in DC this afternoon. That's been open for 30-some years in DC. We've also introduced a really interesting initiative called Channel Kindness. We've trained youth reporters around the country to report on acts of kindness and goodness in their communities.
Oh, wonderful. And speaking of tours, she's coming to DC to the Capitol Arena on Sunday, and recently she was doing a concert. She stopped the concert, got down, and asked a fan if they were okay because she noticed that the fan was bleeding. I mean, this is someone who is truly living the essence of kindness every day in her everyday actions. Has she always been this way growing up?
Yeah, she's always been that way. She's very compassionate. She's the 5-year-old that was, you know, consoling somebody that was crying in kindergarten. But I was actually there at the concert when that happened with the fan who just accidentally got bumped in the face and started bleeding. And so my daughter stopped the concert. But also, I think the best thing is the young man who hit her came over to find me in the sound booth, and he said, "I feel so badly. Can I meet this young woman and apologize?" And we arranged that.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Okay, so there's the restaurant in DC. You and your husband opened up a restaurant years ago, Joanne's. And so if we go there, chances of us seeing Lady Gaga eating?
So the restaurant's in New York City. I'm going to say you have a 50-50 chance. She does love to come by when she's in town, and she's known to get behind the bar and bartend.
What? Yes. And what is her favorite dish there?
Probably Papa G's chicken.
Papa G's. Okay, so if you go there, and you call her Steffi, right?
I do.
So you'll see Steffi tonight when she flies into DC.
I will see her.
And you'll be at the concert Sunday.
I will be at the concert.
Yes. And is there anything that you think their fans, the little monsters, would be surprised to know about your little Steffi?
I don't really know. Just that she's even more kind than they think she is.
And kindness is priceless. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to send it back into you.
So, guys, that was Annie's interview with Lady Gaga's mom earlier this morning. What a nice interview and long and good. A lot of good questions from her, a lot of good reaction. And she looks like her to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't get over how she calls her Steffi. She's like Steffi. Like, for example, me, yes, it's Risa, but my family calls me Andrea. But my mom and dad, because Andrea's my middle name.
Okay.
So growing up, I was Andrea until I got into middle school. And then there was this one teacher who wouldn't address me as Andrea because she was like, Risa's your first name, so we're going to call you Risa, which kind of upset me because I used to get picked on as a little kid because Risa, it's like weird, it's different, right?
Yeah.
So I get called Rice-A-Roni, which would hurt my feelings. So I was Andrea, and like my whole family knows me as Andrea and Andy. So I'm Hispanic, Bolivian, so my parents call me Andy. So Steffi, Andy, you know, playing a little link up there, yeah.
I like how she calls her that too, well. It was a neat conversation. She was basically talking about how her daughter has been promoting this kindness thing, and she always has because of the struggles that she went through as a young performer, as a child. And
people like just being mean to her, and I think just sharing the story with her fan base is what really propelled this foundation that they have co-founded by you know, the two. And essentially, the story that I worked on today is her mother, Cynthia, is hosting a business kindness forum at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, where they both linked up, the foundation and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, to basically highlight on the power of kindness in the workplace, which is super important. Because if you think about it, this is like our second home, and you want it to be a humbling and basically a positive environment. You don't want to step foot into a place of negativity. So I think this was the collaborative effort of the two on just highlighting on the importance of kindness and how specific businesses and leaders in the community are championing on that. So that's essentially what this seminar was about.
So cool.
I think it's amazing. And another thing that really stuck out with this interview with Annie, and just like doing a little bit more research on my end, was it's a new one. I can't pinpoint the name. What they do is they work with young people nationwide, and they kind of train them to be reporters, and they go out and highlight on kindness happening in their community. And it's just like a collaborative thing amongst the young people, and just like, you know, we're trumping kindness, and this is what's going on in our communities.
It's cool.
That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. It's a good description of what you just wrote. It's cool to see them in town together at the same time. She's performing. Her mom is here for this important cause.
I love how they like work together, mother and daughter. That's amazing.
I love it. What a cool get to for our morning show that we even had this interview. Jeff did, whoever set it up, amazing.
Amazing. And
I
we
love
had our
it.
Annie, our sweet Annie, go out and do it.
So she was talking to her. I'll just flip it. More footage of that on the hill. Really cool.
So
Very cool stuff.
Yeah. So what's my story,
That was
guys?
your writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that was big this morning in social?
Gosh,
Or
I don't know. I feel like the day just went.
It did.
You know?
It did.
What
I
else
guess
is
this
going
morning
on?
we're kind of focusing on. I was telling some of you guys we went to a really cool art installation last night that we're going to put together some writing and a aesthetic kind of piece for you guys on. I think probably Monday.
Probably Monday. I think so.
Yeah.
It's like the importing the files and then
It's
getting
a lot of
everything
stuff.
crafted. Yeah, we want to make it nice. So we're going to be working on that. And what else is
Going
going
into
on?
the weekend
Going
strong.
into the weekend.
Friday.
Yeah.
Coming back on Monday. Get some rest.
The holidays are coming up. Justice League. I'm
Right.
sure like that's been talked about so much.
Yeah.
Ongoing Saturday. So that'll be cool. And then I'll definitely get into Kevin's review because I love comparing, you know, my experience with what he you know, has said, because he's a professional movie critic.
He's so great. If you guys didn't catch that, we had Kevin on the show earlier this week talking about Justice League, and his official review is up.
Yeah.
It's on the YouTube channel. It's on our website,
Yeah.
fox5dc.com, and it'll be that's a big thing for this weekend. So you'll have to tell me about it.
Yeah.
You
I'll
go
definitely
tonight or tomorrow? Wait.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because tonight was sold out.
Oh, really?
Already for like the specific theaters that I like going to. Yeah. I was not going to sit front row, guys. I'm literally going to be like this. I can't do that. So Saturday in the morning.
It's important where you sit. It's important.
Exactly. And plus, I got the matinee
great.
discount. It would have been like $32, crazy.
I know.
But I think we got it for like $23.
Okay.
So that'll be cool.
For 2?
Yeah, for 2. So that'll be awesome.
Perfect.
I'll let you guys know my review.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Marissa. So more entertainment, guys, coming your way. More art stuff. We're going to talk all about that installation, whatever is live and breaking. We'll have more political news next week, more weather with Mike Thomas. Tons of stuff coming up on Monday. We're really excited for a new, fresh week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So happy to go into this
You're
Friday.
so awesome, Molly.
Oh, my goodness. You guys. This was kind of a, interesting day. We kind of tried to pull from what we had, but I really am excited to check out the Museum of the Bible at some point.
Oh,
I know it's all timed
like the big
tickets.
talker.
Yeah, but it is free, and
sure.
it's of my interest. I really do want to see it. I love what DC has to offer, so I don't want to miss out on this one. And I'm looking forward to a fun weekend with my mom and my sister who are in town, so that's exciting. So with that, With that, we are going to continue all of our coverage, of course, guys, online, on our digital platforms, and on our TV, on our evening broadcast.
Of course.
So we're Fox 5 Live on digital. We're going to see you again on Monday, guys. Take care, be safe, stay warm this weekend, and we'll see you bright and midday Monday.
Yeah.
Starting with weather as usual at 11 with Mike, and then rolling into more news and fun stuff inside the newsroom.
Of course.
Thanks so much for your help.
Of course. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you so much for being awesome, loyal.
Oh, I love it.
Loyal.
Yeah, you guys are great. Thanks for commenting on the stream as always and keeping the chatter up. We'll see you again Monday, and make sure you come back on. See when we pop up on your phone and become part of the conversation, as always. All right, guys, take care. See you Monday.
Bye.